Hello everyone and welcome back to the Longplay Club. This is the definitive Metal Gear Solid book club discussion, playthrough, whatever you want to call it, on the internet. I'm your host today, Christian Buckley, joined by the Longplay Club, starting with Omar Nakri.
Hey!
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excited to talk about the end of this game.
Oh, me too.
Also joining us as well, Kevin Diaz. Are you excited? Are you excited to talk about it, Kevin? You've had some hot takes recently.
Yeah. We're gonna have some things to say. Some things have it's an interest. This is gonna be an interesting discussion. You know, I don't know how else to put it other than just quite interesting, in good and horrible ways. But we'll see.
I'm sure
we'll see how it all goes.
And rounding out the Longplay Club, Jack Martin.
Fox. How's it going?
Going well, Jack.
Die.
I'm excited, because I don't know necessarily how you feel about the end of this game. Because I know I've talked to Omar about it in the past, but I have not really heard much from you about the ending of this game and what you think about it. But
I will say, to preface before we get into a deep discussion, my opinions soured substantially between episode 3 and 4, only in terms of the gameplay elements. The story-wise, I'm all for, but man, yeah, we are introduced to some pretty terrible gameplay mechanics at the latter half of this game.
I'm gonna have to agree with Jack early on here. This is exactly what I was saying on stream. You know, when we beat it, it's like this story is really cool. The characters are really cool. There's a lot of cool different moments in the game, but it's just trapped in just really bad age, just gameplay stuff that probably most likely it is just aged, right? I would love to hear someone that played it back when it first came out and how they took it back then. Probably be a lot more positive than we'll be right now. But yeah, that's I echo Jack's opinions for sure.
all right.
I'm curious, Christian. You said we've talked about it before. Did I like it back then, or I can't remember what I think.
I think you did. I know I'm
All
talking
right.
more story than anything else.
Oh, okay.
Because I know how you feel about the very end of the game, and of course we'll all get to how this game wraps up narratively. But where we left off last week, we shot Sniper Wolf dead, stood in the snow. Otacon was like, I found something worth fighting for. And when we pick up this week, we take a few steps, and then we have to switch discs.
Wait, real quick. I've been meaning to say this entire time. Shout out to the mission logs when you reboot the game back up. It basically summarizes what happened to your previous play session, and it reminds me of The Witcher 3. Where anytime you jump back into that game, you get a voiceover of what was happening. And I can definitely see this being the sort of inspiration for that. But the disc switch scared the absolute fucking shit out of me. I don't know if you guys are with me.
Yeah, totally. I forgot about that. It's like that. The game over that's masked as a title card, right? No,
Yeah.
I thought something glitched out, but no, it was awesome. I stepped over there and I swapped the disc. Had a good time.
So, did you have to literally swap discs? Because I'm on the classic, and okay, that's cool. I had to Google how do I do that on this, but you have to press the eject button, I guess, and there's an on-screen prompt. You just go over to the second disc and just do that. Yeah.
You just eject the disc while the game's still running, which always freaks me out. And then you put the disc in, the second disc 2, put the slide the tray back. I was playing on the PS2 today, and then press start once it's in, which I assume is probably the same you guys had to do, right? Just have to press start after the disc 2 is in. Yeah.
So that always made me curious, though, because I know there's a bunch of games on the PS1 that you have to swap discs with. I know Final Fantasy VII has 3 discs, so that's pretty massive. And my only other point of reference for switching things out for a game was I think Rare was trying to do that with Banjo-Kazooie, where you'd rip the cartridge out, put a different cartridge in to unlock an item in something else, and Nintendo was like, hey, that can just like break the console, so we're not going to do that. So I never understood how it worked with the PS1.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever. Oh, sorry, Mark.
I was gonna say there's no like 2-cart N64 games, right, or any dual cart.
No, I think because they had
games,
like the since it's a cartridge, it's just like how we SSDs are read. You know, it's like there's no need for like the rotations and stuff like with a PS1.
Right, and there was like no save. There's no memory card, I guess. So if you take out the thing, it takes out the memory too, or the save data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever played a game with multiple discs that I had to. So I don't think I have, honestly.
LA Noir was 2 discs. I don't know if you played that.
That was just for the 360 stuff, I think. Because the PS3 had the Blu-ray.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The games were shipping on multiple discs.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I don't think I ever encountered it. No, because I was on PS3. Yeah, with Blu-ray, and I don't think any of the PS2 games had 2 discs. Like I'm sure some did, but not the ones I played. I don't know. Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We got to the point where games had 2 discs, but one of them was like the install disc, and then the other one was just the play disc. Yeah,
I think even on the PS4 generation, I'm pretty sure there were a few games that were like I think Final Fantasy VII Remake is 2 discs for that reason. Like it's the install disc and the other thing. But
is it
Red
really?
Dead 2 and
I didn't know that.
Last of Us 2 as well, right?
I think so for the physical copies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Too much for one Blu-ray.
Crazy.
But we hop into disc 2 immediately. I just wrote this down. I was like, man, the music when you boot up disc 2, it's like foreboding as hell. Like that hallway, like the lighting is just like red, and it's just like like a bang sound. It was like really, really good.
So good.
Yeah.
I think this second half is the best that the game has looked, and like I think it like shows that like why they put it on a second disc. Like I think I can see why they couldn't fit all of this on just one disc, right? I think there was a lot of like really cool environments that looked really, really cool, and it's very apparent like in the first room that you get to after that hallway that you were saying as well. You know, super cool.
Yeah,
super cool.
Because we'll see in this portion of the game, even though there's only I think 2 named locations of like the underground bunker and the whatever the place was before it. It's the most diverse the game has been environmentally, like Kevin was mentioning, where Disc 1, the beginning of Shadow Moses, it's lots of snow, it's lots of like cargo holds, basically, lots of the same looking assets, but here it's a lot of new, it's a lot of variety within these 2 buildings.
The basis for Katy Perry's Hot and Cold song.
Yes. She's a big fan.
Yeah.
Precisely.
So
I want to know, did anybody fall into the lava immediately?
Yeah, immediately.
Multiple times.
Yeah, me
yes.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, also
multiple times.
with Kevin multiple times.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Omar.
Plenty of times. I was gonna say plenty. Yeah. I felt like are we talking about the edge already?
Yeah, because
going through that. Okay,
that's your first thing.
Because I tried going through that edge, and I feel like the my D-pad just didn't work sometimes, where I kept pressing just a little bit off edge, and I fell in the lava at least 10 times, maybe 15. I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't feeling it. That lava section.
Yeah. I was baited. That was how I died. Because immediately I was like, oh, I'll go left, and then I had a D-pad mushy problem. And then after you kill the guard at the bottom of the stairs, I saw like there was a ration on the edge of like in that tiny, tiny corner. Yeah. I was like, oh, I can get that.
Oh my god,
I couldn't.
The pain already.
It's funny too.
The pain already.
Yeah, because I crawled along the edge and I was like, I got it. It said ration. So then I just like hit the reverse and Snake immediately fell. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that was somebody had a joke there.
Yeah,
definitely.
That was the point where I was like, I gotta save like multiple times. So like save before the ration, get the ration, save after the ration, and then just like go on with my business. But like the way I like to get across the main like shimmy part, I had to like hold down the directional button to keep me against the wall, and then with my other hand hit up and then X to crouch under the thing that's coming, and then I just had to use like, that's not how you should use a controller, but I was just trying to like cheese it to do it. Very annoying.
Yeah, like I had to like readjust my left hand to cover not only the left, but I was doing the top D-pad as well to shimmy forward, if that makes sense, right? But yeah, it felt a little weird, definitely, but it definitely wasn't the worst thing that is in this part of the game for sure. But this is like a nice little like, okay, like, you know, we can start with some interesting control schemes that we got to do, you know, but it worked out in the end. Also, I thought it was pretty neat that you had to like crouch when the thing was moving. This like, I don't know if they were moving like lava itself or like moving different pieces of equipment or whatever, but that conveyor thing, yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. You know, just a little something. You know.
Now, our objective in this room is going to the elevator, so we can go to the underground base and destroy or stop Metal Gear. Before we get into the elevator, did anybody explore and get the body armor? Because I stumbled onto that and I was like, oh sweet, I'm good for the next like section of the game.
I forgot that was
that.
I definitely missed that.
Okay. So, Jack, did you get it before going to the elevator, or did you do it when you had to come back for the key?
No, I did it before the elevator.
Okay, nice. Now, yeah, I don't think he missed out really on much, because as far as I know, the body armor is really only a benefit when it's equipped in your like L2 slot, and then
right.
Jack, do you know, is it for all damage or is it just like bullets?
I was wondering that. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, because I don't think it helped me against explosives. I can tell you that right now. But I think bullets, it basically made it like chip damage on Snake. But you know, you have to toggle it a lot. But
yeah, like I should have probably said this at the beginning, but when I first got into the game, I searched around the boss fight area with Sniper Wolf, and went into those 4 rooms that have the like traps or whatever that
with the cameras.
What are they called? The guns that shoot at you and stuff like that. But like there were 4 different rooms around that area that I got a ton of ammo, a ton of rations at. So I think if I had not done that, I think this part of the game would have been a lot tougher, I feel like. But because like they gave me so much inventory and so much ammo and so many rations and everything, and you know, shash nades and stuns and all that, like I think I was able to have a generally pretty okay time during this section. But definitely without those things, I feel like it would have been probably been a toxic stream for sure. But it was okay though. We're okay.
Now, Omar, do you want to let us know what your elevator experience was like on this descent into hell?
Oh, I had a tough time with the elevator experience. Think I definitely used a few rations and just struggled with the aiming a bit, which wasn't fun. I found out something that we talked about maybe a week ago or something about whether or not the game has 360-degree control. It totally does.
Yeah.
If you press the analog button or whatever on the DualShock, it feels way different. I almost kind of want to replay it now, seeing if that would help at all. But yeah, I think I got through it pretty okay, but tough. Hard game sometimes.
Yeah, I was like Kevin, where in this point of the game I had a pretty stacked inventory, so I was just grenade spamming and like praying, and it worked out for me. But Jack, did you face any difficulties with the elevator?
Yeah, I wrote in my notes that the aiming in the elevator sucks, because it does. I definitely agree with what I think Kevin was alluding to at the beginning of this episode, is that, like, man, the gameplay just is such a hindrance when you're talking about this game, because there's so much there to love about this game. Even with some of the gameplay, like, I was playing the Neversoft Spider-Man game last night and this morning, which I adore, but that game, even like way more so than this game, does not hold up in terms of gameplay. But like, you compare that to this game, like one of the masterpieces of the PS1 era, this is definitely significantly improved in terms of gameplay. But still, I just think it's part of this generation where you go back and try to play those games and they're very difficult because like what Omar's saying, like analog was either not there or just very new, so like people just didn't really understand how to make games toward that, and if you're trying to do precision aiming like you're supposed to on the elevator, it's just very rough. So yeah, I didn't enjoy this part particularly.
Mm-hmm. Now, we were all playing on easy, right? Is that what we all did?
Yes.
I'm on normal.
Okay.
I'm on easy as well.
Because, Jack, I don't know if this is a difficulty thing, but do you have auto aim?
I don't. No, I think I do. Because
Yeah.
if I take out my SOCOM and I hold down the square button, it'll usually target to someone.
Yeah, so that's what my strategy mostly had been of in combat. I like, unless I was stealthing and I had like a shot lined up, I just would like spam it. But if I was using like the FAMAS for waves, where the game makes you do that a couple times, I was trying to just hold out, like take some shots and just like hold square until I could auto aim and then attack. But it's still, yeah, you're right. It's still not like ideal, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think I realized there was auto aim. What?
It's not good.
Yo, listen. When I went on that elevator, I was like, okay, look, I have 400 FAMAS bullets. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I can figure this out, you know? And I kind of just sprayed and prayed and it all just worked out, you know? But I do like sweeps, you know? I kind of just sweep back and forth and just try to get as many hits on enemies as I can. But yeah, it you know, worked out.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out. A little bit sloppy, but you know, it got through it. We definitely got through it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, it's like a snap auto aim. It's not like anything really, like, I think if you're in enough of a proximity and you're not really moving at all, it'll just like snap on for you and then you can attack. But it's like, it's still like very, very basic.
Yeah.
Small touch though on the second descent. I like that there were the Ravens calling out, you know, just like teasing what's to come. That was fun. I like that.
I kept trying to shoot the Ravens. I thought they were gonna start plucking at me or whatever, you know. But I was like, oh wait, okay. I don't think they're attacking me. Like I think we're good. Mm-hmm. But I kept throwing stuns and stuff like that. But
yeah. I think it was on this elevator ride that Master calls, right? And he's basically saying he's suspicious of Naomi because he looked into her past and was like suspicious of that, and was like there was a line where it was like what was it, Edgar Hoover? Is that the FBI? Yeah. He's like, Edgar Hoover was a known racist. So there would not be an Asian person in the FBI, and it's like, all right.
And then they're talking about like the mafia in the 1960s in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's nuts.
Yeah,
big fan.
Yeah, I noted it's like, oh, the historical inaccuracies is what gave up her cover, which we get a lot of that this episode, just in terms of just the cast that we encounter, just like recounting actual history, but like giving slight tinges on it, which I think is funny compared to here, where it's like, oh no, this is like probably historical fact, and we're using that to discount something the game's trying to tell you. So like, that was neat. But that leads into Vulcan Raven 2, the next member of Foxhound that we have to take out. We've encountered Vulcan Raven before in the tank. Had some difficulties with the tank fight on the Longplay Club, but Omar, how did you fare in this labyrinth?
Pretty okay. I actually had a lot of fun with this fight. Just, you know, I think you immediately find the Nikita ammo, and then I'm like, oh, okay. And sometimes it's a bit tricky, but yeah, I used the Nikita a bunch for the first phase of this fight, and then when he starts sprinting around, I use the C4. I think it's a cool fight. I love the atmosphere. I get a lot of Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger vibes with it. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
What do you think?
I thought it was fun also. I kind of played it like Pac-Man in a way, where I had max claymores. So I was just going to every single intersection and I planted a claymore everywhere, and then I just had him track me through rows. I think I got shot once because I was just like, okay, yeah, come to me, come down this hallway, come down this corridor. You're gonna be fine. And then I think doing like 2 sweeps, or going through like 2 of the columns and like down once, he was wiped. But Kevin, how did you fare?
I had max C4, so it was just like a cat and mouse game, you know, plant it right on the corner. Yeah, so it it worked out. I don't remember dying at all in this one, but yeah, no, like I was trying to shoot at him at first, but then I realized that okay, like he's kind of going on like a set path that I think I can use to my advantage. So I just started doing that with the C4 and it worked out. Yeah, so it was pretty easy. Very, very cool fight though. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Jack, how do you do?
Yeah, I think for me this is one of the least frustrating boss fights and probably one of the more fun fights in the game. Just because like you can keep your distance most of the time, and I think I called everyone, but I think Campbell was the one who said attack from the sides or from behind. And I think someone alluded to using the Nikita, and then maybe C4 as well. C4 I had difficulty for him to actually like get where I needed him to go, but using the Nikita was pretty useful. It's funny that Omar was saying Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger, because I get Mr. Freeze Arkham City vibes, where like
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
you're supposed to be like hidden and attacking from stealth. Obviously, like it's not as complex as that fight. That's one of the great boss fights of all time. But it's fun. Also, you're in a freezer essentially. Did you guys have any of your rations frozen?
Oh no,
because
No.
Whoa, they can do that?
So I didn't, but I called Master Miller, and he was like, "Hey, make sure you keep your rations like equipped because it's possible that they could just freeze over." So like he's like, keep them close to your body, so keep them equipped.
It's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Okay.
It's funny that you guys had success with the Nikita though, because that was the first ammo I picked up, and that usually tips you off on how you should fight the boss. So I shot a couple missiles and I tried going from like the side, I tried cutting him off, I tried going behind, and Raven was able to just like shoot him. So I don't know if I was just like being sloppy with it or what, but good to know that like it actually works, because I thought like maybe I was supposed to hit his tank on the back with the missiles and maybe deactivate that because it's been a while, but it is cool that you can apply a bunch of your different like tactical stealth strategies for this one. So after the fight wraps up, we get some talk between Vulcan and Snake. Vulcan Raven drops a little hint. He says that Snake is not of this world, like the boss. What do you think of that?
Oh, wait. Oh, shit. I didn't think about that till you just said it.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that he was saying, like, oh, you just build different, bro. Like,
I mean, really,
yeah,
he is.
I am built. Oh, shit. I am built different. That's crazy. Wow. Yeah.
Kevin has an existential crisis.
Damn. That makes, yeah. This is, I did not pick it up like that until you just said that, but yeah, okay. I see those seeds being planted. Mm-hmm. I liked the concept of his ravens coming and just, I think, eating him alive. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, that is interesting. That is cool. I like that. Yeah. Good fight. Good ending monologue. I like it.
I don't know if Raven knows the stuff, or if he's just saying it because like Snake has zero humanity. Mm-hmm. Or he thinks he does with the way he murders everyone. Mm-hmm. Almost when like Raven passes and mentions that thing about I'll haunt you forever. Yeah. I kind of figured he just thinks Snake is like a demon or something, like the boss was. Because I think the boss was just a guy, not necessarily.
Well. Am I wrong, or was he talking about Liquid in that scenario? Because
I think he was.
Oh, yeah. Jesus!
Because I think they make a distinction between, especially in this portion of the game, between the boss, and Big Boss. Because
I think you're right. Actually.
Liquid, I think, would be boss here, because that's how I took it. But I did wonder, Omar, if it was that way of like, so does Vulcan know about the program, or like, is this just Kojima writing a Native American to be spiritual and sense things? Like, because I think it might have been both. That. But
that's that. I took it the latter. I was like, Okay, well, this part of the game's over now.
Yeah, because they really go on that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think we also get the decoy octopus, like, reveal, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And that, like, right, Vulcan's like, hey, decoy octopus died. That was actually DARPA chief.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the DARPA chief that Snake encountered earlier in the game was actually decoy octopus. Right. That is revealed here. And I think this is where we get the cutscene showing decoy octopus, like in the flashback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Vulcan Raven's the one who comes and picks up the body.
Okay. Oh, you know what? That makes sense. That does. So Omar, that reveal with the DARPA chief, how do you feel about that? Like, is it still something that you think works in the mystery they're building here? Does it feel cheap? Like, what do you think of it?
You know, I remember specifically the whole decoy octopus chain being super confusing to me when I was younger. Because like they barely show him. I actually was surprised. I completely forgot they even did show him here.
Yeah.
Like, I think it makes sense. I think it's cool as a story beat that they got this guy in a disguise to try and get information out of Snake. But as a member of Foxhound, I feel like he is definitely the most underwhelming or low key. He just maybe build up the mystery some more and never show him, or I don't know. It doesn't really work for me, to be honest.
He's like the dude in the Suicide Squad who dies like instantly.
Yeah.
In that movie.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, is Decoy Octopus just like the Aquaman of this team? It's just like, yeah, and he's here, like he's part of it. Yeah, like he's the little brother that gets invited. You know, it's like, hey, yeah, he's hanging around. He can do some things. You know. Kevin, as a first timer, what did you think of that whole reveal with the DARPA chief?
I didn't necessarily understand. It's like I was like, wait, okay, so, and then I was thinking like, wait, like did I see him in this game besides this one instance? Like, you know, it seemed like super random, but it's like, okay, like, all right, I guess we're gonna run with that. Cool. I'm sure it'll make sense later on.
Yeah. Because they do kind of tease it when you get captured and the DARPA chief's body's in the cell. It's like, oh, his blood is drained. There's maggots on him. It's like he's been dead for days. So there's that thing.
Right. Okay.
But
right.
It's vague enough where you could think like, oh, they just threw his body in there. Like you don't really have to be suspicious of it.
Yeah. I just thought that they threw his body in there, but like you're right. I guess 3 days hasn't passed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like 3 days wouldn't have passed from the time that you see the DARPA chief and he dies versus being in the cell. So,
right.
Yeah, okay, I see.
Plus, yeah, I want to hear from you on this too. Like, we get the debriefing at the beginning of the game, like in the cutscene, where he's running through all the members of Foxhound. And he says decoy octopus. Like, did the fact that you hadn't seen decoy octopus at all in this entire playthrough, did that stick out to you at all, or did you just completely forget that was a member?
I like half forgot, but then like I remember like, oh wait, like they said someone octopus. Okay. So I don't know if like he was gonna have like tentacles or some shit. I don't know, but yeah. I mostly just forgot about him.
Okay, yeah. I think that's probably what the intent was. I don't know, because I think the first time I played it too, I completely forgot that there was decoy octopus. I was just like, oh, I guess he left or something. Like, I don't know.
Like it feels like there was like a cut boss fight or something like that, you know? Like it feels like he was intended to have one, I guess, but I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, that's a good point, because like it does feel weird that they build up this team and then there's just this one that's like purely narrative. I kind of like that, but like, Omar, do you feel like with Kojima's history in terms of developing games with Konami that there's a chance that there was a cut content fight or something with this extra member of Foxhound?
I don't know. From what I understand, I feel like he was able to make stuff his way only up until Metal Gear Solid 5. But yeah, I think this is a case where it's actually a cool idea and concept where there's a mystery member just among you, and you don't understand or you'll never see him. But I just think it's a bit botched, I guess. Like they both like show not enough and maybe say too much. I don't know. It's a weird reveal, I think.
Yeah, it definitely feels like something that should hit harder, right?
Yeah. I think it was supposed to essentially build the Fox Die sort of conspiracy, but I think, especially for us, it just takes place over such a long course of time. For us, it's been like 3 to 4 weeks where it's just like, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not with a character that you even know, so it can't really hit necessarily.
Right.
So I agree with Omar. I think if they built it up a little bit more, then it would have been a lot cooler, but yeah, it is what it is.
So we pick up after Vulcan Raven. We go through a hallway with 1 million cameras and 2 trapdoors. Who fell down the trapdoor? I did.
Only. Oh wait. No, I almost did. I risked it for the biscuit to get a ration, and I finessed the side of it, so I was able to do it. But yeah, I almost took it all right there.
I learned later on that, and this applies to this room, that you can destroy cameras with a stinger. I had no clue.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Did not know that.
I didn't either.
But the thing is, we'll get into backtracking, but like, you go through this room so many times. I destroyed the cameras once, and then like once you do like a clean sweep, everything like resets, and even the destroyed cameras reset. So
damn, that sucks.
Yeah, there's really no point of doing it, but that's a possibility, and I feel like I missed out on that for the majority of this game.
Is this the room with the 90 cameras?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
So I know these rooms. I know these alleyways back of my hand. Okay, I know this very well. So I think it's ice room, and then it's a hallway with just no cameras or turrets over. But there is the 2 trapdoors that are right back to back, and then the next area that looks like an outside type of walkway is where we have the bazillion cameras and stuff, and then another hallway with nothing, and then the Metal Gear room.
Right.
I think we get the Naomi call with Master where he like finds out the details right here. I think it's right before Metal Gear.
Yeah. I think it's either in one of these hallways or right when we get into the room. It's one or the other. But yeah. Do you want to recap the biggest takeaways of that one, Jeff?
Yeah. So essentially, Master Miller calls, and he was suspicious before, so he's like looking into Naomi's history and found out that the real Naomi Hunter went missing in the Middle East like years ago or like months ago, and figures out that this one is a spy who like took that woman's papers and like has been masquerading as her for a while. And then she's essentially arrested and put into a cell. I don't think we get the whole business with her backstory at this point, like the fake Naomi, but I think she essentially is put into holding. I think that's what this cutscene is all about.
Yeah, and we get a couple coda calls in the Metal Gear room on our way up. Like I think there was one at the base of all the ladders. I think Otacon called you, and was talking something about like how the card system works. Then you scale a ladder, and then I think you get another call. I forget who it's from.
Someone says that the WMD that Metal Gear is holding is a stealth weapon, so it's impossible to shoot down.
I think, is this...
Otacon says that, right?
I think it's Otacon.
Yeah,
because I wrote down...
and they changed the launch from Russia to China as well. That might be a little bit...
Yeah, that's in the
later.
In the control room. But, yeah, I wrote down that a few pieces of information before the room with the 2 of them. I wrote down the stealth nukes.
I want to face Omar.
The stealth nukes that Metal Gear is working on, like Otacon said. I also wrote down Fox Die. Is this like, I think this might be the first mention in one of these calls of Fox Die.
Yeah, I have that written down too. I don't know the details. I literally just wrote down the word Fox Die.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah. Great journalist you and I, Christian.
Yeah. And then I wrote down Key Quest, because I think in that climb, Otacon mentions, like, you have the keys. And then we get to the room with the Liquid and Ocelot discussion.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
So, Kevin, you walk up on this room, you see Liquid and Ocelot. What are you expecting?
I do.
Are you expecting this to be the end of the game? Because you know Otacon just said we gotta go get keys. Like, what is your expectation going into that room? Like, stealthing and looking.
So, after they have this exposition about, like, you know, Fox Die and, like, oh, we're going to launch the nukes in China instead of Russia or whatever, this and that third, I thought that it would be, like, a stun type thing, maybe, like, some boss fight or whatever, you know, maybe they have the other two keys all along. I don't know. You know? So I thought like something like that. But yeah, like I thought it I didn't think it was gonna be like the end right there necessarily, but like I thought I was closer to the end at that point than what we'll see moving on. Like there's definitely a lot more to get through than just that. But yeah, it seemed like it was things were connecting and kind of like ending in a way. For sure.
Omar, looking onto this room and we see Liquid and Ocelot talking with each other. This is the first time we really see them play off each other, like, alone. And they are aware that Snake is listening in. So, as this entire scene goes down, what's your vibe on, like, the relationship between the two of them and the way they're talking, knowing Snake can hear them?
I am always kind of surprised at how Ocelot is listening to Liquid. But maybe that's just honestly, I might be the worst person to ask this in terms of like the where the series goes. Like I guess I'm just a little yeah.
So I guess, like, looking at it that way, I'm just being surprised that they're like cordial with each other, I guess, if that's the right way to look at it. Like,
I think I don't want to say, I'm not going to say too much, but sometimes I do think, like, the idea that Kojima had all this in his mind before making the first game does come up to me sometimes, where I'm like, man, he's got all these characters doing exactly what I think they would be doing, or acting how they would be, but I think he's just writing it as it goes along. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't really have any real good impressions here other than nukes, China, Russia, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the rationale from what you were saying, Omar, from going from Russia was the initial, like, target for the nukes to China, was that the target in China was like a nuclear facility, and the stealth technology with Metal Gear, like, wouldn't register, so people would just assume that there was a nuclear disaster at the facility rather than, like, a strike in Russia. So I think that was, like, this is like a huge exposition dump in this scene, essentially. Like, we get that. I think Fox Die is, like, further explained, and the possibility of a vaccine is talked about, and they call Shadow Moses Outer Heaven.
Yeah.
Which I think from the original Metal Gears, was Outer Heaven Zanzibar?
I think
there?
I think so.
Or was it Outer Haven?
Wait, what?
So yeah, worth.
I remember a name drop of Outer Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I thought that was some, like, prophecy that I guess Big Boss was trying to achieve. That was some sort of world where. Am I jumping ahead?
No, because this is the same scene, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like, I think I put it together where it's a version of a world where the like true warriors are now more respected, right? And not like the hypocrites and the liars that currently run society then, which would have been like the late 90s and still today, you know. But like I think it was a vision to shift the power dynamics back to the ones with like tangible like strength, like warriors and stuff like that. I think that's what they were getting at with like the outer heaven thing, you know.
Incel society.
Precisely.
Yeah, so in Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2, our Solid Snake is going after Big Boss, and Big Boss's base is Outer Heaven. So that's where it all goes down. That's where he kills Big Boss, and that's in this scene where Liquid's coming from, where like we have to like fulfill that dream. Snake robbed us of that dream because like he killed Big Boss.
Wait, that's in like the original Metal Gears, like Metal Gear.
Yeah, like the Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
so
I see.
It's hard to look at this specific cutscene for me right now and sift through what's true and what they were just trying to get Snake to like react to, because that is something that I never really noticed before, that like they're fully aware that he's there until, well, the whole time, but then they specifically call it out like when his elbow peeks out. Like just so like they were like,
wait, who's there?
We'll let him think he was being sneaky, you know. Like
I did not pick up that they knew that he was there the whole time, to be honest. I think looking back it makes sense, but in the moment I did not register that.
It's more implied than it. Like, it's hard to tell. I think it's mainly the cutscene direction, because I think Ocelot specifically is like looking at the monitor. They show the monitor a few times, and it's like, oh, Snake is clear as day standing right outside that room on the security camera. I don't think he had, like, points it out to anything. But,
right.
Oh, we also get, the three of us get that Meryl is still alive. I want to know, like, did they mention Meryl for you, Kevin, at all in this section?
Oh man,
like, oh, thank God Meryl's dead.
No, I don't. Maybe I missed it, but I remember like being like, oh shit, like she's alive later on. I forgot when it could maybe be this one, I think, honestly, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not 100% on that. Maybe it was.
For us, Ocelot just like asked Liquid, like, what about the girl? Should I kill her? Or want me to kill her, right? Was that what happened?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Snake's like, Meryl's alive.
Yeah.
Meryl.
So right after that, they confront Snake. They shoot him. He drops the card off of the high rise that they're on. You gotta climb back down to get the card, which is the first...
What a dork.
Yeah.
Oh no, I dropped my card.
It fell through the water thing, whatever.
So...
The drainage ditch.
Yeah.
I fucking hate this part, if I might say, right now. I had a terrible time. This is the worst game I've ever played.
Oh man, here we go.
It's not that big of a rant. It's just a little bit of... can I jump into the gameplay real quick?
Yeah, all I was going to say is
all
this is
right.
the first key quest, because we got to do 3 swipes, and this is the first one.
Right. Yeah, but... Yeah, so that card falls into the drainage ditch, and then you got to go find it, and you just have to really crawl around the spaces to pick it up. But I made a mistake where I was under the impression that there were mines in this drainage ditch, because while running around it, I unknowingly picked up a time bomb. Remember the time bombs that Gray Fox tells you about like 5 hours before? Yeah. So I picked that up and I didn't realize it. And then eventually I just died in there. So I thought, oh, I must have got killed by a mine. So then I took out my mine detector and was down there and avoiding the red dot on my mini map because, oh, that's a mine, don't go there. And so I spent maybe like 20-30 minutes not touching this red dot that later I find out it's the key card.
God damn,
yeah,
bro.
It was rough. I just was purposely not getting the key card. Also, I wasted 20 chaff grenades, all my chaff grenades on that one security camera getting down there, which ended up being a big problem for that room with 90 cameras.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I had a rough stream for a bit.
Big X. Yeah. I told chat at the very beginning, listen, last stream, toxic levels were very high, right? So I was like, hey guys, I reserve the right to, if you see me struggling, like, and I'm not tangibly like trying to like figuring it out and not making progress with it, I'll allow, slight guidance, not tell me directly, but just, steer me in the right direction and we'll be good. So there were a lot of points where, like, if I hadn't had chat, I don't know if I would have figured it out. I really don't think I would have. I really don't. I would have for sure had to look up a guide, right? And, like, I think, like, it just belts down to the conversation of, like, hey, old game's old, But this I didn't have too hard of a challenge. Like, I think someone in chat was like, hey, like, it might be just down there on the first level. So I just looked down the water, which was radioactive water at that, so that was interesting. But yeah, like, I found the card really, really quickly. So I feel for you, Omar.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it's tragic. Tragedy.
On your chat thing, if I might add, I had the inverse experience because I had one guy in my chat telling me that there was a rat vent to look for. I think he might have been fucking with me.
Wait, there was a rat vent?
Yeah, he said, okay, there's a vent with a rat. It might have spawned in there. And so I didn't know what to do with that. So, and then he said, okay, take out the PSG-1 to look for the rat vent. And I spent some time looking for that fucking vent. I don't know.
Chat did tell me that if you wait too long, the rats can eat the card.
Really?
I don't know if that's true, but that's what chat told me. That, like, hey, like, if I took too long, there was, like, a lot of things that they said, like, were, like, bent on time. Like when you, jumping ahead, when you're changing the cards out to what you need it to be, you gotta hurry back. Like, you cannot waste any time because they could go back to being like the normal card. But they were telling me that rats could eat the card, so hurry up. So I don't know if it's true or not, but
I will say, the codec comes in extreme handy in, like, various points of the game, and this is for me one of them where I always, like, if I'm in a situation like this, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I just call everyone, and they will, like, blatantly, like, they don't even try to be, like, sneaky, like, oh, maybe try this. Like, I'm pretty sure Campbell was like, use the mine detector, and then the card will show up on the mine detector. And then I called Nastasha, and she's like, be quick, because that water is, like, nuclear water. And I realized that there was, like, a staircase by the camera that Omar was talking about, and there was one right near the entrance when you first walk in to see Metal Gear. It's, like, right off to the right. So I went to that one, went down, got the card, and then I picked up the bomb. And I was like, oh no, I've seen one of those before, and I just discarded it, and then that was it. But yeah, the codec, I feel like, I don't know if this will continue throughout the later Metal Gear games, but, like, the codec will just straight up tell you what to do. It might take a long to, like, go through it all, but it's very useful.
Like, it almost sounds like, I don't know how extensive QA was back then, but, like, it sounds like they were like, shit, like, sometimes, like, people just, like, don't know what to do, right? Yeah. So, like, let's just record, like, okay, forget it melding into the world and, like, being super R2 like button. Literally just say press R2, like, fuck it, like, we'll just tell them at some point, So yeah, it definitely helps for sure.
It's very interesting that you guys pulled out the mine detector, because I didn't. I think I might have just stumbled into it because, like, I saw, because I went down, I think, into the radioactive water when I first went into the room just to see if there was anything in there, and there was nothing like visible. So then I scaled that Metal Gear, and then after Snake dropped it, I was like, okay, well, he was on, like, the corner of that walkway when he, like, reached down to, like, try and grab the card. So I went down, and then, like, my mental image of what that room is, it's like, okay, well, this is probably the area it is. I walked into the upper corner where the pillar was, and I found it. So that was probably just luck, but I was in chat for Omar's thing, and I saw where you picked it up, and it was very different than where it was for me. Like, same general space on the map, but I think yours was like flesh up against the southern wall. Mine was like stuck in that corner of that pillar and like the walkway of the Metal Gear like barrier. So
interesting though, there's RNG in it at all.
Yeah. Like
weird.
Maybe that's why they tell you to use the mine detector, just so like it's gonna be in that area, just based on logic, and then just trying to pinpoint it. But yeah, I didn't pick up the bomb either, so I think I just locked out on that.
I should mention I looked at game facts. I had to Google it. I felt like an idiot when I realized it was the mine detector thing, but happens.
I had to Google for the changing discs thing. I'll admit
really?
that too. Yeah, I mean, like on the classic, I don't know how to do it. Like I don't know. Yeah. So
it's part of the hardware. Like, what do I even do with this?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just a hardware thing.
If I may ask, is that like in the software, like in the OS, or is there a button to press on the unit itself?
Yeah. So there's an eject button on the classic that doesn't do anything. Like it doesn't pop open anything, but you press that, and then an on-screen prompt comes up to go to the second disk file. You know.
Oh, cool.
And you just do that. Yeah. But my key card was like when you were first walking into the Metal Gear room and the right stair step that Jack was talking about. I went down there and then made a left and went all the way down towards like that wall on the other side, and it was right there on the floor.
Yeah, same.
So mine was over there. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So it must be like slightly randomized, like in that one section of the map. But
I just don't understand why the mine detector would show it as a mine.
That doesn't make sense.
So
that's really dumb. That's really dumb.
Yeah, that's like it didn't differentiate at all, because I know the mines have like a cone.
Oh,
but that's really it.
All right.
Oh yeah, that's
I guess so.
Because like this is a dot rather than the yellow cone like we were mentioning.
And like heaven forbid the mine detector, picks up like claymores that are more closer to a mine than a card is. But
right.
I digress. You know what I'm saying?
I tried.
So stupid.
I tried taking out my cigarettes. I thought maybe that would show it. And you know what? I think that would have been way cooler than the mine detector.
Yeah.
Like, maybe just show it like heat reacting down there or something. Like, I don't know.
Are cigarettes in all the Metal Gear games? Because I'm gonna try and make a stance as to not smoke.
I know.
You're not gonna get far.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
This Metal Gear is pro smoking.
Yeah. I went through the full game without.
Got him.
I went through the full game without smoking one cigarette. I'm not anti-smoking. I'm anti-smoking cigarettes.
Well, speaking of smoking, part of our card quest is we gotta change the temperature of this thing, because just like Christian Bale's Batcape, it's got this ability to change shapes when you put stuff in it. So
wow, great pull.
Thank you. I believe first up is freezing it. Right, you have to lower the temperature of the card. For
just like Joe Biden.
For the second wave of it. So you gotta go all the way up, over, down, back down to Metal Gear, and then retreat back to Vulcan Raven's den, because it was frozen. It was ice. Now, the way I did it, like I went into the room and then I equipped the card and then I just stood there. Like I didn't know if it was a passive thing or if I had to have it equipped. But Kevin, like you mentioned the chat saying of like it was time sensitive. I figured it would have been. So what I tried to do was in the room to change the temperature, I had it equipped. But after it changed, I like switched back to a different item, hoping that would buy me time if it wasn't equipped, so it's not like exposed to the air or something. I don't know if that helped at all, but
yeah. Okay.
I didn't have to do any repeats. I got my one trip around. How did everybody else do on that?
For this card specifically?
Yeah, for the ice one.
Yeah, pretty much fine. It took me a second to realize. I went looking around to see if there was like a place to place it to make it cool, but now you just wait like a minute, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that was pretty much fine for me.
Yeah. Chat's guidance definitely helped me out here. The first inclination was before I even went down the elevators and everything, I went into the boiler room and was grabbing ammo there, and they're like, "Hey, Kev, remember this room." I'm like, okay, all right, cool. And then when they were talking about, oh, like you gotta go from, this card has to be cold and then super hot. I was like, okay, that makes sense now. They said that you could also go all the way outside and go out into the snow to cool the card as well. But it's like you want to just use that room that's right outside in that freezer room. Like just use that because that's closer. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I think someone was trying to troll me. They said that I could drop the card to freeze it faster. I'm like, okay, that definitely makes sense. But like, I don't know how to drop it doesn't let me drop it or like use it, but like eventually it turned blue. And then we just went
Maybe
back.
you go prone or something, I wonder.
Oh, true.
I bet. Yeah, okay. I bet that would have been faster. Yeah, okay, bet. Yeah,
I lied down, but it was still like it probably took. It was like still not annoyingly long, but long enough to just be like, all right, can this thing be done?
I want to say maybe like a minute 30, maybe something like that.
It's interesting you brought up going outside, Kevin, because that was my immediate thought. I was like, oh, I have to go all the way back to the Sniper Wolf arena, and the reason I thought that was it was because there was one level 7 access door in that arena that I couldn't open immediately, but I was like, am I even going to be able to go back there because I was on disc 1? Like, are they going to include that arena in disc 2? Like, so I didn't bother, and I was like, oh, the Raven fridge, of course that'll work, but I don't know what's in that locker.
I think you can. When I switched to disc 2, I accidentally went outside.
Oh, okay.
I didn't spend too much time there, like I didn't walk around, but it loaded that environment seemingly.
Okay.
On this too, so I think you could all the way go back there and do that level 7 door. I bet, but I didn't.
I remember hearing with Final Fantasy VII, like the way the discs are divided on PS1, it's like they include the last 20% of the previous disc on there, just so in case you want to go back a little bit. I think
that makes sense.
I bet you this was a big fight at Konami. Was Kojima was saying, no, I want the players to swap back to disc 1. Like, wouldn't that have been so cool to go and do the backtracking thing? Like, oh man,
that'd be funny.
I feel like the backtracking here wouldn't be as bad if you didn't have to scale Metal Gear like 12 times.
Yeah.
With like 20, like couldn't Snake kick down a ladder? Just one big ladder instead of going up like 7 ladders each time.
Honestly, worse for me with the 2 elevators. I thought
that was annoying too.
Just slow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I know I was very vocal about not liking the backtracking to get the weapon, right? I think a lot of it had to do with the guidance of chat. I just let them kind of guide me a little bit in terms of like things that like aren't as apparent on what to do. But yeah, this kind of felt like backtracking that like I enjoy / don't mind, where it low-key felt like RE, where it's okay, Kev, listen, you have this amount of equipment, you know how to make all the way back there. There's going to be trouble over here, so your safe grenades are there. There's going to be enemies over here. Are they going to spawn more enemies on the elevator? I don't know, but be prepared for that. So like, I think, I don't know, like I didn't mind backtracking for this for a specific like objective thing. I think what just made me mad about the first backtracking thing was that like, I don't know, like the fact that the sniper doesn't spawn and the game like forces you to do that no matter how rigorous you're being in terms of like looking at every corner and nook, whatever. I think that's what is worse the first time as opposed to the second time, where you're not backtracking for really that long of a distance. At least I felt like it wasn't that bad here. The boiler room is kind of a long thing, but it's not horrible. But yeah. I'm not sure if like there's cap there because I had chat kind of like guiding me loosely, but I was not really that mad or bothered about backtracking. I was excited to go on that journey again.
I'll disagree slightly because like I like the backtracking here because it makes you remember the environment of like the red room and the blue room, like for hot and cold. So that's fine. But I definitely I way preferred the first initial backtracking thing because it's like okay, I the armory, sneak again, and it took me like 15 minutes max, I think. This one to me felt way more like backtracking for padding than the original one did, because here, and the reason that I think it's a weaker backtracking segment is like it's purposefully making you sit through things, just as like between getting to the room and sitting there, going up and down the elevator 2 times and sitting there, going up and down Metal Gear again and again and again, and then while I'm entertained by them, a lot of codec calls. Like, I just think where the first one, I thought it was fine because it's like, okay, sniper, I know where to get a sniper, perfect, we'll come back to it. This one to me felt more like padding, even though there was like story they were doling out. It was just a lot slower, and that's why it didn't hit for me outside of the idea of like, oh yeah, find the cold room, find the hot room, that's fun, but everything else in between was like kind of a drag for me.
Like 100% there is padding for sure. 100% like the whole process of that was padding, but I don't know. It didn't rub me like too much the wrong way, I don't know. What do you think, Jack?
I was thinking what Omar was saying either last episode or a couple episodes where there might have been a point where like Kojima and Konami met and they'd be like, hey, this game is not very long and like we kind of need something to flesh it out a little bit more. And if that was the case, then this was put in there for that reason, because like there's a plethora of different ways to make this section of the game work, and a billion of them do not include like this is Doctor Strange's one thing where it's like, all right, we need to pad out the game. This is that. It's like, oh god, we didn't need that. We could have literally just gone here and then entered some sort of code or whatever that we've picked up, progressed through the game, and just been on our way. But this adds like a solid 30 minutes to the experience, and it's just not necessary. But yeah, like what you're saying, Christian, we do get we get a call from Naomi here, the fake Naomi. Right.
Mm-hmm. And this is what I enjoyed about this part of the game, because it was like peeling back the layers of all that stuff. So like, I think it could have been paced a little better to the point of where like I wasn't just going through 3 or 4 empty hallways and sitting on an elevator, and then it's like, oh, so okay, now settle in and just listen to this. Where like before, at least it was like I got to be like on my toes, like this bombs, his cameras, his guards.
It's in the middle of like you getting the hot card and like going back, and then like in the back of your mind, it's like, this thing's hot. I gotta keep it hot. Like I gotta go.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, listen, like I want to talk to you, but I gotta go. Like, yeah. I'm like, hey, yo.
I checked the status of it to make sure everything was good, because I was like, that was a very long codec call.
Yeah, me too. So this codec call, Omar, infamous name drop a couple episodes back. Talk to us about Frankie Yeager.
Yeah.
Oh, snap. Oh.
Right. Sorry about that.
I see. No, dude, I totally forgot, man. You're good.
God, this is the call where Naomi gives her whole backstory
Zanzibar.
About yes,
her parents, Zimbabwe.
God, yeah, she had no family. And then her brother was Frank Yeager, who looked after her, and then she wants to kill Snake, or she doesn't.
I think she wanted to kill Snake because both Frank Yeager and Big Boss were like her protectors, essentially, and Snake was responsible for the death of Big Boss and ruined the life of Frank Yeager and left her alone, basically. So she's like, I swear my vendetta. I joined the FBI or CIA or whatever she's part of, and then she was waiting 2 years, that whole thing. Yeah. But
and she ends up injecting Snake with Fox dye.
Yes.
So like we know he has like a ticking time bomb at this point.
Yeah, I love this performance. I don't know who plays Naomi, but it's awesome. She sounds so evil on the phone. Or
Jennifer Hale, I like
that.
Yeah, it's cool. A tragic story.
I forgot how Naomi brings it up, but like I think she's going over like what she thinks her backstory is, or like where she comes from, whatever. And she's like, yeah, I forgot which country she cites, but like, yeah, like I think I was found or like did something around this area, so I think that explains the skin tone. And like I thought that was kind of funny, like her just dropping that, like, which I thought she was Caucasian, to be honest with you, but I didn't realize that. There's supposed to be a little bit of a melanin in her skin. You know what I'm saying? But
I could be completely wrong on my geography. She talks about Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe. Yeah. Is Zimbabwe like Southern Africa?
That's Africa.
Hey Siri.
Yeah, that's in Africa.
Okay,
where is Zimbabwe?
I got like it's hard to tell, I guess, with like the codec illustrations because like Snake looks kind of dark and Snake is white, you know, but like
yeah, I was even wondering about Snake's, you know, ethnic background. Like I couldn't tell if he was like Japanese or if he was American. Obviously, he's played by an American voice actor for us, but like it's unclear because of the PlayStation graphics,
right?
Yeah. It is Southern Africa.
Okay, then yeah. So that if she is white, which I assumed she was based off her illustrations, like that would make sense if she's from Zimbabwe, right. You know, like
yeah.
But this is the call where we do get a lot more about Fox Die, specifically that it's a programmable virus that can target specific DNA patterns in specific people, and through Snake's injection of nanomachines and all of his booster shots that we talked about on episode 1, Naomi snuck in Fox Die. And who reveals this to us but Master Miller, except who is it actually, Omar?
Liquid!
Yeah.
Right. This is the call you get when you put in the key cards and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Man, okay, so in hindsight, this is the whole, like, all according to plan, we're puppeteering Snake, which I don't get it. We were just talking about how tedious or padding the key cards were, right? Like, did they make that in a way to humiliate Snake? Did they design Shadow Moses in this key card system in a way to make Snake do more work? Like, I don't get why they needed Snake to do this with the key card and they couldn't just get anyone to do it, I guess.
Well, Snake had the one key card already, right? Like, Meryl gave it to him.
Okay, did he have that forever?
I think Meryl gave it to him.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like,
I was struggling to understand.
I think she gave it to Snake after the interrogation, maybe? Or Otacon gave it to him, I think.
Didn't he get the PAL card from Baker, the Armstead president?
That's what I thought. No, okay, no, he definitely gets the disk drive thing, right?
Right.
Shit, does he get the key card too?
No,
I thought he did.
Baker gives him the disk drive with the test data on it, and he says Meryl has one of the key cards. And that's why they were looking for her. And at some point, Snake acquires it. I forget when, but you have an interesting point, Omar, about them using him. I figured that it was more of like a, hey, we can play this in a way that makes it work for us easier, because if we just say we activated it and make him go through the work, because like regardless, someone would have to do that work of like freezing it and heating it up. So like, I don't know, save them some time, just have them chill out, talk about.
No, I can see it.
Yeah.
I was confused because Otacon like makes very clear like, hey, if you activate it when it's deactivated or when you insert all the key cards, it will just activate and then it will become the weapon. But if you insert it when it's activated, it's deactivated and it's done. Mm-hmm. And then you clearly do it when it's deactivated. So I was like, when I was doing it, I was like, this feels incorrect. And I was like calling Otacon, and he's like, you can insert the PAL cards. And I was like, all right. And all the Xbox Series X's decompress into the thing. So yeah, I didn't like the process of that because I was like, I think I'm doing the thing I'm not supposed to be doing. It turns out that's what happens.
I do love the reveal of Miller though being Liquid.
Me too.
I think that's incredible because like I always forget how much like just unique animations they have in there for codec call reveals. But
and his hair coming out.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's like
dope.
Yeah, the hair comes out, the sunglasses come off, and then like always the perfect timing. Campbell calls in like, Snake, we found Miller dead in his cabinet for 3 days.
Holy shit, Snake!
Yeah, it's
never
so
gonna believe
funny. Yeah, just perfect. Now, Liquid and Miller, how are they always the same voice actor? Have they?
I think so.
Okay.
Like this because I knew the reveal was coming, and obviously, but as I was playing through it, I was trying to like really listen to Miller and see if he would like slip up on any phrasing or anything or what. But yeah, there was certain inflection at times where I'm like, oh, it's definitely the same voice actor. Absolutely.
Yeah, because Master Miller sounds British sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I think, and I can never.
I think there was a point in the call when he's talking about Foxeye, I think, and like how Naomi like might be when Naomi gets arrested. I think he says one word or something in a way that I'm like, hold on, you're not that.
No.
So I like to think I have a certain skill of recognizing voice actors, and I've played this game before. I totally forgot about the Liquid Master deception, and I didn't piece the voice actors together. Even though like once you realize it's very clear, like one's a British accent, one's an American, but like they're the same voice actor. But yeah, that just slipped by me, I suppose.
Yeah. So Kevin, you hear all this exposition, you see this twist.
Right.
You learn that Snake is carrying this virus to kill Foxhound. How are you processing all this stuff? This is a drastic shift from the main narrative of most of the game in terms of what's the real priority here. How are you taking all of these twists of like Snake's mortality, really being 100% convinced that yes, they are related to a big boss, and dealing with Naomi's treason? Like how is this all landing for you?
Like, it's not particularly like unique in stories, right? But I personally liked it because it like kind of had me like flashback to like when they literally flashback in like Black Ops 1, right? With like spoiler alert for Black Ops 1. Reznov doesn't make it out of Rakuda, right? And he's dead the entire game. But Mason doesn't perceive that, right? And so like it definitely called back to like a moment like that where it's like, oh, like that makes this whole thing like really interesting, and I want to go back to the beginning and see like if I can pick up on Miller sounding like Liquid and all that, and you know, there were some things where like the DARPA chief, like I don't know, like he like talked in some ways that it seemed like he was almost just saying stuff and making it up on the fly a little bit, kind of. So like, I bet there's something there too on that, you know, him not actually being the DARPA chief that you talked to and everything. So, I thought it was good. I thought it worked. Definitely, you know, that like whole twist and everything for sure. I liked it.
I don't know if we mentioned it, but during the Hind fight, I tried the Jack thing to call everyone. You can call Miller during that fight. He won't pick up.
Good call.
Yeah.
That's good.
Hey, Snake, how's it going?
Yeah. Don't mind the helicopter noise.
Yeah.
No, it's on your end. Jack, with all these moments in this specific scene before the room gets filled up with gas, is there anything you picked up on this time around in terms of like all their drops to Snake, the true goal of Foxhound at this point in the game? Like anything that like really stands out to you particularly?
Not really. Like this honestly, like I said before, I hadn't played this game for like 5-6+ years, and I didn't really remember all this. I think I alluded to it earlier in an earlier episode where like I thought the end of this game was like very convoluted in terms of the plot that it was doing. Especially this particular episode that we're covering, like, geez, they just throw so many plot points at you, and they're all designed to subvert your expectations of what's been happening in this game, and it's just like, oh, come on. Like, to me, that was just like a little too much, and I wonder if Kojima is a fan of M. Night Shyamalan, because he must have seen a movie and be like, let me do that times 100, because anything you do in this game is a twist by the end of this game. So Yeah, it's a lot, and it made me understand the game like way less. Like I get the general plot of like what's happening, and now with like the twists and stuff, but yeah, he just makes, I feel like Kojima makes his stories like purposely difficult to understand. It's like very labyrinthian.
Sure, because like thinking back, I finished my playthrough of it this morning. I think at this point the biggest takeaway is that yes, Foxhound was doing this to achieve Big Boss's dream, and they wanted to eventually, once they figured out what was happening with Snake and Decoy Octopus, they needed the Fox Die vaccine. They tried to manipulate Snake so they could just have him finish most of the heavy lifting for them. And I think the only other thing would have been that Naomi had ulterior motives, but later it's revealed that she was actually sanctioned by the U.S. or specifically the director of security, right? Whoever's in charge, Department of...
Oh, the Jim Houseman?
Yes, Jim Houseman.
It's Secretary of Defense, I think, right?
Okay, thank you, yeah. He sanctioned her to be the one to distribute Fox Die, and that's how that plays into the ending of the game.
Yeah.
But
I should mention this real quick, too, but I really do just love the codec, because, like, it just always seems like there's so much going on behind the scenes, or, like, you really get a picture of, like, the situation where Jim Houseman is storming in, and people are tying up Naomi, or the Colonel is getting tied up. Like, it definitely seems like a radio player or something, almost. Like, it does a lot to flesh out the world. Maybe too much to flesh out the world, but it fleshes out too much, but it's always kind of fun, I guess. It's like my favorite thing about Metal Gear, probably, is just these calls.
It's very unique to the series, and I think that I wonder if you could make a case where, because I know a lot of people point to this past generation of like open world games and audio logs and stuff. They point it to BioShock, but like, I wonder if it's actually this.
Bro, I think that's genius. I think you're right. I think you're totally right.
Yeah.
Because even like Kojima did that himself with like Metal Gear Solid 5, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think
that's 90% of the story is audio logs.
Right. For the worst, I think, too. I wish that game had a codec. Yeah. Like, need it. Need it.
So after all this,
a codec?
It has a thing, but it's not the codec.
Damn, that's fucking. I was hoping to get like really good looking codecs that like call back to. Yeah, what the damn, man.
Yeah,
tragic.
So
tragic.
We have another escape room puzzle after all this exposition dump, Kevin. How do you experience getting out of the gas room?
Very fun. This is where the frustration is. Like, I was telling chat, look, like, if the BS is sprinkled and not concentrated, we'll live. But this one was edging on the edge of like, okay, this is just kind of dumb. Like, what do I do? I called Otacon.
Right.
And like he was like, "Oh, dude, chill out. I'm working on security system like that." And I'm like looking at my O2. I'm looking at the gas. I'm like, dude, like there's not a lot of time to chill, But like last second, he's like, "Okay, I got it open," and then all the gas goes out when the door opens, and like everything's fine. But I forgot if it was, I forgot who told me this on the call, but I think someone mentioned that I could use one of my weapons to break open the glass, even though it was bulletproof. Like I could use, like, I was assuming like a Stinger or some other rocket, that the Nikita, that I was going to be able to break open the glass. So I tried that for a little bit, but then Alicon called me and told me that he got it open. So
nice.
Never got to do that, but yeah.
Well, right after that, we dive into another exposition dump. Specifically, like, this is the one I've been waiting for, I think, the entire time. It's just Snake and Liquid. It's the two of them bouncing back and forth for the rest of the game. This is where we get the iconic Les Enfants Terribles.
Oui.
The terrible children.
Yep.
Yeah.
The terrible children.
Recessive genes. This is also here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, basically like Snake is he got the good genes and Liquid got the bad genes, and Snake took everything away from Liquid, and that's what Liquid tells Snake, at least.
Yeah, because I think specifically the way that Liquid's talking about it, and the way we can pull on this later, but like the way it's implied that like Liquid believes he's inferior, it's strictly on a physical level, because Solid Snake is with the benefit of the gene therapy or whatever that they did to create the two of them, got the look of Big Boss, right? Like that's what Solid Snake got, and Liquid got like everything else. And he just is like, I got this blonde hair, it's not the same.
And he's British.
I mean, here's what I thought about when Liquid was saying, "Oh, like, you know, I got the recessive genes, and like I'm, I guess, lesser. You know, I'm like lesser than you." And when they start explaining the whole, there were 8 of us, and that whole thing that we will because it was just like, damn, okay, bold fucking move, okay, bold. I kind of don't understand it, because like, yeah, okay, like Snake is built up from multiple people, you know, that, oh, I'm this legendary hero, this and the third, but like I never really felt that powerful in comparison to like Liquid. I feel like Liquid was a lot more capable and like at least seemed a lot more daunting, and it seems like he would have been the one that got the dominant genes. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know like if I'm just thinking too deep, low key, but
so
I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Like I feel like you're a lot better than me. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's later. Jack, does somebody mention phenotype? And that's just like the appearance.
Maybe. I mean, we'll get into it much later, but there's a cutscene, Marvel-esque credits cutscene that speaks to what Kevin was talking about.
Yeah. Omar, before we fight Rex, is there any other things that stood out to you with Liquid and Snake bantering? I think this is where we get the live action footage of the lab and stuff like that. Like,
so cool. Yeah.
This is why they needed the second disc, I bet, is to include some more footage like that.
Sure.
That's my best bet. But yeah, I hate this shit. I love the Liquid, the framing of it, the red shots, the lighting. It looks awesome, but Liquid is so insufferable to me in this scene. I think that gene stuff is so icky and nasty, and the way he's like, humanity just lives to pass on their genes to children. Again, with this Psycho Mantis incel bullshit, I feel like, you know?
Yeah, it's really weird.
And like, you know, maybe it gets the point of it wasn't that later of the game is reversing that or going in face of fate or whatever, but just as a villain's motive, I guess, in this, it's like just nasty. I don't know. I just hate Liquid at this point. Like, I know Kojima made that tweet at one point saying that he, like, I won't say the rest of them, but he says every Metal Gear Solid game has a 4-letter word associated with it. And like, I know this one, Metal Gear Solid 1, is like genes, but I almost feel like it really is just too much at that point for this whole game, just to get into this layoff on Thareeb stuff. It was like a cool, like, Cold War thing. And then, I don't know, it's about family bullshit.
Yeah, that's something that... Sorry. Yeah, that's something
you go ahead.
Like, by the end of this game, it's like, yo, I remember, like, infiltrating, you know, this base, and, like, it was like, okay, cool, like, I'm a dude who's very capable of doing these things, stuff like that. Like, I'm trying to stop this weapon. Great, all good. And then, like, the game ends and almost like puts its flag down on like this message of like just living life, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how did we get here? Like, and the game's only like 10 hours. It's like, wait, like how do we even like, it seemed like it all happened at the end, where just this like super big shift of like Yeah, this game is really just about, sometimes we're so wrapped up and we forget to live.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
So, something that I've always like taken issue specifically with this game in the Metal Gear series is that, like what you're saying, Kevin, it starts off as such not run of the mill, but like easy to comprehend stealth game, and then by the end of it, it's like, what just even happened? Like,
yeah,
they just drop so much in. I guess we'll call it the third act of this game, where it's like, man, you just like turn this into a totally different experience, and like I like all the stuff they introduced, but like it's not easy to understand, and they like constantly are trying to make you sort of like second guess what's been happening. I texted Christian this before we did this because I was like, I found a similar experience with Final Fantasy VII Remake, where by the end of that game it's like, whoa, they just like they introduced something so crazy by the end of that game, and just totally like that game starts off very like grounded, like environmental terrorist, and then by the end of it's like, what's even happening, in a good way, of course. And same here, but it's a lot to take in, and it's hard to process, really.
I feel like they make this game seem so big for a while, like the world is ending, but then it just becomes a small scale like family stuff. It just feels like the scope of it is limited by the end of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I personally like how it becomes more of a narrow focus, because I do think, Jack, you put it well. Like, it is easy to understand and go along with at the beginning, and talking about like the way corporate espionage is working with everything. Like, it's easy to digest. But I think in the case of Snake as a protagonist, and Kevin was like questioning like what makes Snake more of a hero, like I do like, and I think to make him feel like more of a true action hero, you have to like make it more something personal for him. And I do think the make or break for that is how on board you are when that shift happens. Because the shift happens fast. Like, it happens very, very quickly. And it does happen in these codec calls. I think, like, the earliest way to, like, ease you into that is the Frank Yeager stuff. Like, I think that's truly when it starts to try to get more personable and, like, give Snake some more humility. And if you can ride that through all of it, and then like you see the layers come back of like why Snake is doing, like why he's like this, the genetic coding of like him being a clone of Big Boss, like Liquid, like being like sharing that DNA and being destined for something. I think it's interesting when you look at the two of them as opposites, because that's what they're supposed to be. And it is a drastic change. You're absolutely right, but I do think it lands where, and the ending is very cheesy, but it lands where I think it works to humanize Snake. So the message it's going for, I don't feel like is super out of left field from the beginning, because it's like this guy's coming out of retirement for a job. So I get the idea of like, hey, try and find peace. The way we get to that, I think it's believable, but it is really dependent on how on board you are for that shift, because it is a big shift.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I think Snake is already pretty personable, like, or he shows his humanity in cute ways a lot of the time. I just feel like when they bring up they make this whole story about like clones, like he's literally a clone. It almost feels like contrived in a way, like this was the most extreme place you could go. And I know Kojima's making a point with it, with the ending. It's just, I don't know. I think it might be a bit too much for me, or a little bit.
Sure. So the immediate follow-up to that, we get another boss fight. Metal Gear Rex, piloted by Liquid.
Boo.
Jack, walk me through your experience of the fight.
Yeah, this fucking sucks. That's really the only way I can put it. The whole thing here is like, you're this very small human being, and you're fighting this giant world-ending machine. And I think at this point, like, you don't really have a lot of rations. I don't know if body armor really helps all that much. And the thing with this fight that's so bad is, like, there's not a lot of different techniques or skills you can apply here to really succeed well. It's mostly trial and error. Like, constantly you're being bombarded by the, like, explosives that he tosses out. And those will, like, lock onto you, and they'll basically hit you every time. The key here is to, like, try to go underneath him to, like, make sure he shoots those, but he doesn't shoot them close enough to him, and then you shoot your stinger. But yeah, it's like you're just constantly getting peppered with things. Like, it's next to impossible. I defeated it with my last rocket, and I was astounded. But yeah, this sucks. It took me like 10 times.
Yeah.
Did you use the shaft grenades? During this?
I used a few different things, but nothing really seemed helpful.
Okay. I was playing on easy, and I definitely, the first time I did it, I used all my rations. I used like 5 rations and was at my last health. But then eventually I had to restart the fight because I died. And the shaft grenades really trivialized it, I guess, for me. Just tossed him, and then I could get like maybe 2 stinger shots in every time, pretty easily. Nice. Yeah. So
yeah.
I like Omar. I used the shaft grenades, and I couldn't tell if it was helping a ton, but I just basically stood where the fight started and immediately whipped out the stinger. And I found that if you shoot the stinger before it locks on, if it's timed well enough, it will cancel some of Rex's attacks. So I was able to just essentially not like stun lock him, because he did get a few shots in on me, but like I could do it enough to the point where I could tank some of the hits. I think I had to use like 2 of my rations because I made sure to save a lot, so I had a full 5 for the ending fight, and I think it took me 2 rations. And the strategy I was doing, again, basically where I spawned, and I got to the Gray Fox cutscene, and then I think I had a bit more issue with the exposed cockpit part, but I think that's because I stopped using the chaff grenades, because I was like, oh, targeting's down, so it's probably not going to help me. But
yeah, they don't work during that. Okay. I don't think.
So yeah, that's where I had more difficulty. But even then, I had 3 rations left, so I could still kind of tank it and keep the same strategy. But Kevin, what about you?
Yeah, this one was probably the second most tough and stressful type boss fight. The first one, I'm sure, is very clear to everyone here. At least I hope it is. But this one, it was just like it's weird that the rockets like really hit you head on like almost every time. Like, I felt lucky when they didn't hit me when I was in front of it. And then it was after a few tries where, chat was like, hey, try hitting the dish when the Metal Gear can't see you. You know what I'm saying? So like when lights are blue, so like I was hitting it from different angles, and then I eventually was like, oh wait, okay, I can go under him. But then sometimes when you're going under him, he's moving, so you don't see yourself anyway. There was stuff like that I'm like that just seems like maybe poorly designed, could be the phrase, I don't know. But yeah, like it wasn't the best of fights for sure. I found the cutscene with like Gray Fox to be super interesting. And like when you go back in the gameplay and Fox is telling you to shoot him with the stinger to take him out, and then Snake just can't do it.
It's no
and I'm
good.
like, damn, okay. Like, I'm like, you know what? That's some quality elite cutscenes right there. Like, that's some good stuff right there. I liked it. But then like when it came to the fruition that even on the second wave, if you die, you have to do it all over again. So by like the 4th time, I was like, Snake, listen, why don't we just do it? Like, why don't we just shoot him and just end it here? We could also do that. But then the second phase, yeah, the the chaps don't work, but the stuns do because he's exposed.
Oh,
so
nice.
I was using the stuns for a little bit here and there. I just used that off of pure just because I was out of chaps. I was like, oh, okay, well, stuns maybe, I don't know, and they did work. So that was pretty helpful. But this was ultimately it was a stressful encounter just because when he sees you, you have a very limited window to react, or else legit 25 to 50% of your current health bar is gonna get taken off. Right. And there were instances where I was trying to get rations or just trying to get ammo, whatever, and that's okay. Well, if I go after that, am I gonna want to sacrifice half of my health right now? Are you gonna make that trade? Is it gonna be worth it? Because at that point, it's there was no way you could avoid that if they see you. But yeah, it was just a matter of just getting a right angle, going under him, all that. But yeah, it was pretty bad. I would rank it in the similar territory of Sniper Wolf levels of stress. A little bit. I'd put it in the same bracket. It's doable, but it's kind of stressful figuring it out.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I didn't enjoy about it is what Jack said, where there's not much wiggle room. There's really just one way to do it. If I didn't figure out the canceling portion, where I could stop him from launching missiles, I would have been much more frustrated with it because just of how strict it is in terms of your strategy. But yeah, it's not a really engaging fight. It's really just more of waiting for your time to take a shot. I thought something maybe the Hind fight even might have been a bit more engaging in terms of trying to be strategic about it.
Oh yeah,
but,
yeah. Also, one thing I forgot to mention way back was I think Jack said something about the multiple layers and all that you have to go up to scale Metal Gear. I thought that really gave you a good sense of scale, right? And how big this thing is.
Mm-hmm.
I think they really did a really good job at doing that. That I was that's really neat on PS1 that they were able to create that sense of scale.
Mm-hmm.
That something that I think would have been probably difficult if they tried to do it any other way. Even having little I guess loading screens, but it will fade to black and then fade back in relatively quickly. But yeah, I like the sense of scale that they were able to create as well with Metal Gear.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that as well, just in terms of the size of that thing, and honestly, just how cool it looks. I think Metal Gear Rex looks incredible.
It looks dope.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love too when the cockpit opens up and the screeching of the metal, it makes it seem like it's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
I love that so much. That's so cool.
So sick.
I'm impressed that they could harness the power of the PlayStation and you could actually tell what Metal Gear looks like, because I feel like it's such a complex machine and you have a very good sense of what it actually looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So I was fairly impressed with that.
Yeah, definitely. Do we want to talk about Gray Fox a little more? Because we do get interrupted with this fight. Gray Fox shows up, the ninja, Cyborg Ninja, Frank Jaeger, whatever you want to give him a name of.
Deep Throat.
Deep Throat, that's the reveal.
You left that one out. Yeah.
I was damn. I thought it was I thought it was gonna be revealed later that it was Liquid, who was also playing Miller, who also was Deep Throat, to further help me and not help me, but push me in the way that he wanted me to go.
Right.
But I was damn, bro, it was you the whole time. Shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought, man? Because I certainly didn't.
Yeah, the Cyborg Ninja appearance here is one of my favorite moments in the game, just because Omar, like you mentioned, where it talks about Snake's humanity earlier in the game, because it's definitely there, especially the stuff we've talked about with Otacon. Seeing it here with Jaeger, I kind of forgot how friendly it was. I really thought it was much more of a antagonistic, hey, I don't want to help you, but I will. It was way more of oh, these are former friends that are just really far gone, coming to a mutual agreement. I really like this moment, and seeing him show up and talk through Snake and clarify the whole Naomi business, I think ties up a lot of the the questions I had in terms of that subplot really well here. But
I forgot about that, to be honest. The whole like, no, Snake, I killed their parents and I felt so bad. Like,
Yeah.
Again, I think this is almost a place where Kojima takes like the most extreme background and then puts them on a path for like forgiveness. Like, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I definitely enjoyed the amount of drama with it. It's such a good scene.
I'm just starting to think. I called Psycho Mantis Darth Vader, but like, there's a 1-to-1 comparison you can make with Gray Fox and Anakin Skywalker, where like they're both for Gray Fox and Snake, at least they're both these like highly trained sort of professional like assassins or whatever you want to call them. And then like Gray Fox essentially dies, but he's like hung on and like clings to life via his cybernetic suit, and then plays an antagonistic role, and then eventually like finally like comes to his senses, and then sort of returns to his humanity and tries to help Snake as much as he can. So I like that. But yeah, I agree with Omar. Like, man, there's so many exposition dumps at the end of this game, and that's one of them where it's like, I don't really know if we needed that, but by the end of it, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that is funny. But I did like seeing Gray Fox's humanity and how it always was there in his role as Deep Throat. Like, even if he didn't want to show it in front of Snake personally, he always sort of was rooting for Snake in the background. So I like that.
Yeah, I think too that moment where the fact he reveals his backstory and how tragic it is, it makes for a really good moment with Snake and Naomi later.
Oh,
so
for sure.
Yeah, probably worth it in the grand scheme of things, but
yeah,
definitely at the moment I was like, what, really?
Yeah, for Snake, that is a good moment, like when it comes back around and he decides to withhold that information.
Plus, honestly, I think the cutscene's kind of hype. Just him showing up, this dude you're fighting earlier, and he's like holding up the leg of Rex so like Snake can just run back and get covered. Like,
I was like, holy shit,
bouncing all around.
Like,
it's so sick.
Kevin, a couple weeks ago, I think 2 episodes back, you mentioned like envisioning what this would look like in a like this scene. Like,
this is the one.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my
seeing
god,
Gray Fox do like the slow-mo stuff, like the dually pistols, and like just like shooting up the thing on Metal Gear and blowing off the radar, like all of that stuff. Like, it is for me, it is one of the highest like moments of like holy shit in the game, because it is like essentially it's a boss coming to your aid in the final fight, which I think is really cool and contextually does make sense because of all the history they have. So I do like that.
Yeah, like I'll just reiterate and just double down. Like, when you play like the OG FF7, you really have no idea what a remake could look like, right? Until we got it, and it's like, yes, okay, I just don't have the capacity to even see that as the person that did not create Final Fantasy 7, right? But with this game, you could see it. Like, at least I can. Like, I would be shocked if it looks anything different than like what I'm imagining, and like hopefully better than what I'm imagining, if it's real. Blue Point, please, please. But yeah, definitely want to see this scene, and the other one I want to see remade, and like the scene that made me want a remake even more by the end of the game, in a positive way, because end of episode 3, I was like, we need a remake in a very like negative sense, and like, yo, like, this is not hitting, right? But now it's a little bit more positive. I'm gonna cite something we don't have to touch right now, but the car tunnel scene. I thought that was really well done on PS. I was like, damn, like, this is really well done. So seeing that remade, I think would be dope as well. But also, of course, this scene, definitely
for sure.
When I spoiled Frank Yeager's name, I was trying to mention that he has the same voice actor as Grim from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. If you guys remember into that, maybe it was just me.
I definitely remember the show, and I can see that now. Like, I never picked up on that before, but I can absolutely, makes perfect sense. It's totally the exact same
thing. I know in the Twin Snakes remake they got rid of him, which was unfortunate.
Oh,
yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah, didn't, because I know some people have some issues with Twin Snakes in terms of being a remake and like making things. I think the most common criticism I've heard, and we don't have to go into this too much, is like in terms of the way that presents the story, it's like more anime or something is the biggest critique I've heard about Twin Snakes. But like for me, crank that up. Like I love all the crazy BS that Cyborg Ninja's doing, you know. Like,
yeah, someone in chat said that. Someone in chat said that they liked the Twin Snakes version of this cutscene than the original one. I don't know if that was controversial on that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But I've heard like pretty negative things about Twin Snakes overall.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I just think we should probably say this for the remake episode, but I still think like you need the voice acting from this game. I feel like you can't recast anyone. I feel like, and damn, I don't even know if you can redo the lines properly. Like,
yeah, I think you have a point. So after this, we get basically the final rush of the game. We have again another beefy cutscene with Liquid. This is where it's all red tinted. There's a first-person view of Snake, and I wrote down that I think at some point during this cutscene, Kojima's trying to break the fourth wall, and Liquid is talking to the player because it is first-person perspective, and Liquid's like, you can deny it all you want, but I was watching you this whole time. You were smiling when you took down my companions. And it's like, well, Snake wasn't, but I was for sure. So, like, he goes on that about, like, how you're, like, a natural-born killer, like, killing second nature, you enjoy it. It's like, I know Kojima would, like, love, and he has, to make a commentary on gamers, you know? Like... So I do think in that scene, specifically because it is cut to first person, I want to rewatch like that entire segment, but I do think, because he's looking like dead center in the camera, I think he is trying to address like the player more than Snake there, personally.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Like, it's he loves doing that shit.
But that was really my only big takeaway there. He mentions, I think this is where we get more of the live action military footage, talking about the Gulf War syndrome, and then how that was actually gene therapy.
Which I'm like, wait, what are you?
Seems
I'm
inappropriate. Like, very close after that.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. I was
hey,
like,
remember
so
9/11? Like that was actually this.
Yeah.
Like same vibes.
Yeah, like I was like, hold on, like I don't know if that. I don't think this is gonna fly. I was like, wait, so like, you know, because they say like, oh, like I think they say, oh, they thought that these soldiers were going through something called post-traumatic stress disorder, but like really, it was like this like gene therapy, whatever, right? And I'm like, you know, I think there are certain ways that you can blend like real history with you know this fiction that you're creating in a very tasteful way, right? Like what we'll see in Loki, where the whole disappearance of that one dude that hijacked the plane and like disappeared, was ever seen again, that was Loki, right? Like that's like some cool, right? Like that's a way that's cool. I don't know if like bringing up like, you know, soldiers really having PTSD and like really going through that and like touching that, I think is the most tasteful way to go about it. Like me personally, I wasn't upset as someone who has not, you know, been a soldier and not, you know, been through stuff like that. But I could easily see that like being also when he starts bringing up the notion of, yeah, like there were 8 of us, but they killed the other 6 in the fetus to then like bolster these 2. But then, oh, we're going to take it a step further. We used Liquid to somehow like make a contrast to where you got most of the dominant gene and stuff like that. Like, I'm like I wouldn't be saying anything, but I know like if my mom walked in and like heard that would have been a discussion. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like that would have been a thing, you know. I don't know, man. Yeah, so I was like, oh, it's a risky move, I guess. I don't know.
So to go on the I think that's another case of like what Omar said, of just Kojima going to extremes, because like with the fetus thing and Liquid is like, we were killers before we were born. Like that is absurdly,
I was like, holy shit.
Like, that is so absurd that to me, I was laughing at that. Because, like, that is just, that's too funny. And then, I think, I felt weird when he was going over the Gulf War stuff. But I think the way it actually went down was they thought it was PTSD, but it was actually, like, in real life, it was, like, radiation. From
the chemical warfare.
Yeah, so like that.
Oh shit!
Factually, it was that. It was. They thought it was PTSD.
Yeah, okay.
And then it was like, actually, no, it was nuclear stuff. So I didn't feel weird about it because it was like, okay, well, it's modifying something that was like a product of the military-industrial complex. It wasn't like actual mental health issues. If it was being like,
okay,
no, they didn't have PTSD. They were genome soldiers. That would be weird. But if it was like.
Okay, that part I missed. I take back. Okay,
it was shifting the blame from, again, like Jack said, like the whatever chemical warfare was going on to similar like biological issues, but as byproduct of this gene therapy, which was the other point I was going to bring up, where earlier where they were using like historical fact of like J. Edgar being a terrible person to be like, see, Naomi's lying. Like this, I think manipulating it again was another one of the like Kojima isms that I thought was interesting to flesh out this world personally. But yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
I don't want to sound like a hater, but sorry, Kevin, would you?
No. Oh my, please.
Okay. Please. I definitely don't want to sound like a hater. I do love how stupid it is and extreme. Like really, I do. It's just I now sometimes wonder how necessary some of it is.
Yeah.
But in terms of being just, really trying to push things to 11, I do enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. And then I was like, wait, like, is he getting at that, like, because every soldier went through this gene therapy, or maybe not everyone, but a large majority, are they pointing that, like, they all share DNA, like with Snake and Liquid and Big Boss, I guess now too. Is that what they're kind of pointing at? I
believe so.
And that's what I walked there with. I'm like, that's a interesting proposition. It's quite interesting.
I think the logic behind it was that the genome soldiers are genome soldiers because after the experiment with the twins, they were able to take Big Boss's DNA and strip it down to data so they could reprogram, create super soldiers, essentially.
So they call them, like, digital soldiers.
Yeah.
Digital, yeah.
So it's not literally, like, all the genome soldiers are clones of them. It's, like, the way that Captain America got a serum and was able to, like, modify his own genetics. It's more of that than anything else.
I see.
Okay. Which also that whole part called back to one time I was saving with Mei Ling, and Mei Ling is like, her and Snake have this like big conversation about technology is progressing at such a rate, but like it can never harness like the true like human heart spirit, and then Mei Ling's like, no, like it's just a matter of time before we do, and stuff like that. And then like, Snake says like some dope quotes of like, no, like memory is in between the images and the sights and the sounds. Like that's where memory is. It's not them itself. Yes, a computer monitor can save a picture that I take, but the memory is in between all of that. I was like, damn, some good shit. I was like, damn, yeah. And then like when they call back to like, when they were able to like do that therapy to make these like a digital, I guess, profile, if you will, of Snake and Liquid and put them into soldiers and stuff like that. Like, I think Liquid says something where it's like, yeah, like they're like us, but not quite, I think that's what they were kind of getting at and laying down the foundation of, which I thought was interesting. But sorry, go ahead, Amor.
No, I was going to mention another cartoon. And to be honest, I don't even know if this is something I made up in my head or not. But did you guys ever watch the Proud Family?
Absolutely.
It's real. Okay. Did you remember the Proud Family movie?
I did. They're on the island, right?
Yeah, and aren't there like peanut genome soldiers or something? Did they make peanut clones?
I know Peanut butter
Holy shit.
plays a lot into that movie.
Okay, yeah. Aren't they
Snap.
It's like George Washington Carver.
right? They're clones, right? Or they're
No,
or
you're
they just...
so right. Shout out to the Proud Family one time. Shout out to the Proud Family.
Yeah, Proud Family's
Love
awesome.
that show.
Sorry.
10 out of 10. Bang.
That was really it. That was all I was gonna say. Clone stuff is weird.
I want to ask Kevin about like the next part where it's like basically like Snake and Liquid fighting on the top, which is another bad boss fight.
I fucking hate this fucking.
So-
I fucking hate this fight. I fucking hate this fight.
Yeah, this is awful.
Get good.
No, this is awful.
It's not hard.
You punch with the
Awful.
circle button. It's circle punch.
Listen,
Dude, hold on.
This
You guys
game-
are playing on easy.
this-
all right,
oh my
I'm playing on
God.
normal.
So is
I'm gonna
Kevin.
play
I
that
played on
part
easy
right
too.
now.
With other shit was
This
ass.
is difficult.
This is trash. This game was so close to me saying, you know what? Episode 3, there was a lot of BS in there, right? I just didn't like, and like this fourth one, there's some sprinkles.
Tell me your
but-
excuses. Why is it bad? Why is it bad? Come on.
What
didn't work?
Dude, there were points where he was able to get a hit on me where I thought that wasn't fair.
You hit square.
Right.
You hit square when he charges at you.
Nah, man.
The-
Wait,
the-
I didn't even
the-
know you could do that.
When he charges at you, you hit because you know CQC is squared. You have to choke people out. When he's charging at you at an unblockable attack, you can counter him and you throw him off the side of Metal Gear.
So
That's
I
great.
just
Precisely at
dodged
what
that
point did
part.
it tell you that?
Use your arsenal.
Oh my god.
No, the thing that makes this part especially bad is the D-pad. Like you have no analog control, and
It is a D-pad.
every move you have to do is like a directional. You have to you don't like move at him sideways. You have to move at him like from an angle. So it's like next to impossible, and he just moves like every time you're trying to get him. Took me forever. Also, I hate when things unnecessarily put a time limit on certain things, and that's just obviously an added pressure. And he's like, I'm gonna nuke us, so we gotta fight for 2 minutes. It's like, why? Why?
Yeah, I hate it.
Also, we just fought him twice essentially, and now we want to have to fight him a third time. It's like, this is so dumb.
Oh,
But not
it's
even the third
last
time,
one, right?
Jack.
Yeah.
Not even the third time. There's a fourth time.
yes,
There's a fourth
right.
whole ass time. There's a fourth time. But also, okay, so is this where the because in Death Stranding you do a similar 1v1 where you're just like, all right, fuck it, we're just gonna fight like for real. Is this where it starts? Is this like a trend?
Well, I don't know if it started beforehand, but it's a trend, all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a trend, yeah.
Wait, so Jack, I have a question for you. Were you
Yeah.
played on PS3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just didn't you played D-pad the whole time?
Mm-hmm. I didn't even. Can you even use?
Yeah,
analog?
you can switch to analog if you hold on.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, yeah, because when I played it on PS3, I did play the whole thing analog, and
Was that a toggle I had to do?
yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
or at least on the DualShock, there's like see that button? I don't know if that's on PS3 or not.
Well, they have
my
the
God,
middle like menu button.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because you know how with the Psycho Mantis fight, when you go to switch your units, there's an option in that same menu that lets you switch to analog.
Oh,
So I don't know if that would have helped you at all
Interesting.
in the entire game, but
I'm sure it would have.
yeah. So that's an option on there. But
Well, I wanted to ask, like, I brought this up because I wanted to ask Kevin about this, since we all, the whole context of this fight was Meryl was lying next to us, and, like, she was going to die in 2 minutes, and that would, you set the bomb off. What was that for you, Kevin? Like, was Meryl was dead for you, so what was happening here?
No, Meryl was there, right? And I don't. So I think I think chat told me after the fact that like if I were to have beaten him and still have 2 minutes to spare, which that has to be impossible, right? Like like there was no way. That I think I could have saved her, I think, but I wouldn't have even wanted to do that, to be honest. Like, listen, like I stick by my, you know what I'm saying? If Meryl died, Meryl died. All right. It's a wrap. Okay.
So
It's done.
how did they fake you out essentially? Like when you submitted back at the torture, like it said she died, but she didn't. There was actually a twist. Was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that twist happens after the Metal Gear fight, if I remember correctly, and it's when me and Liquid are talking, and like she's like, "Oh, look who's over there," and then Meryl's just there, like her body, and then Snake's like, "Meryl," and then he's like, and then I think it's like a matter of like if I beat him quick enough, I could save her. Then I don't, which I think she's just bleeding out. I don't really know how I could have saved her, even if I did beat him in under 2 minutes. Like, I don't know how that whole thing plays out, but Meryl's definitely dead. But then me and Otacon have a very like cheesy but like insightful conversation on like, you know, moving on and all that. So
it sounds more fun than the horny we got, because my
Y'all
god,
got some
maybe
horny?
the most inappropriately
like
horny
that
time in the game.
holy shit, dude! Please tell me.
Well,
Okay,
like,
I think
so
you
go
go
for
Jack.
it. No, you go for it.
Okay, thank you. I think what happens? I think, God, Snake and Meryl, like they, you know, Liquid falls off that thing, and then Snake sees Meryl and notices the building is crumbling or whatever, and goes, "Guess we won't have enough time for a love scene." And Meryl's like, "Oh shucks," or I don't know. Makes something suggest that she would enjoy it as well.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
What
and there's
the
like.
fuck?
I don't know. There's some side comments about Snake needing to put a shirt on or something, and I honestly can't remember anything more. I know there was something else, but do you guys remember?
It's just so odd that, like, all of a sudden they're like, "We're together now." It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that was really never. Of course, like, Snake has with every woman in this game, like, has moments with them where he's, you know, he's doing his thing, but. Yeah, it's just like so sudden, and so I was like, man, it feels like we got the bad ending. It feels like this was the bad ending.
Almost, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Kojima explains everything, but he refused to explain how Meryl got over her training to make her not like men. Like, what happened there?
Oh yeah.
No, it's because
near-death experience.
It's just because Snake is the clone of the perfect man. Isn't that clear?
Yeah,
he's the ultimate alpha. That's why he beat Liquid.
he's the Sigma male. Yeah,
He's more than a man.
So, because I remember also, just like trying to build up the Meryl thing. I don't remember if this is before they run off to escape or if it's at the very end. But it felt like it was at a time that was like, we should be moving right now. I feel like Meryl was talking for like a minute and a half about like how she kept fighting. Was that on top of Metal Gear?
Wait,
she
what?
woke.
Meryl was.
She woke up and she was like, "I was fighting so I could see you again," or something like that was. I think we were on top of Metal Gear when she woke up, and she was like, "Hey, I could have died. I was bleeding out. They had me. I didn't give up. I wanted to see you again. That was what gave me hope." That I think
you're right.
So I was wondering if it was more of like a weird, because I don't want to jump to future stuff, but I think the horny here could have been a spur of the moment, like sharing trauma experience that was like just making, like she was like, she lost a lot of blood. She was really like holding on at that point. Like, I don't know if it was just the situation of it all, because like we won't get into future stuff, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, a little bit of future stuff. I do think, like I was saying earlier, I think Kojima might have had this all in his mind. Oh, actually, no. What happens here with Meryl? Actually, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But yeah,
I like the fact. Okay, this is gonna sound pretty dark, but like I like that in my playthrough, Meryl did not live. Right? I mean, like only because I think that it provides a lot of like human moments with him and Otacon. You know, like they have a common ground and can grow closer because in my playthrough, Otacon's like, "Oh my god, I fucking lost Wolf." And it's like, yo, like I don't think you ever had her, but okay, like all right, bro, like okay, like you know. But granted, to the same coin, Snake never really had Meryl either, you know. So I thought that was kind of interesting how like these two are. They play it off like they're so deep in love when it's like I don't think it was deep on either case, but
Yeah.
go off, Kings. Okay.
I think I like Kevin's ending better because we don't get Otacon at the end of ours. He's like
What?
off somewhere, and like
No
the
way.
rescue team has to come in and go find him, and we get
That is so lame.
Snake and Meryl riding off on a snowmobile together.
Yeah.
With like no chemistry, but like completely forced. It's pretty bad. So I think
Wait, so you get Snake and Meryl?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
Dude, that is so lame.
they say the exact same thing.
Yeah,
like just go off and live your life. I think the whole point of this is like having choice and agency, and I think we both get the same message, just conveyed through different characters.
Yeah, like the last thing we get from Otacon in our side of it is another one of these really good moments between the two of them. Like on the Kodak call, like he calls Otacon after they get off of Metal Gear, and then the first thing Snake says to him is like, "Otacon, good news, Meryl's alive." And then they both like smile, and he's like, "That's great, Snake." And then, like, he's like, "This bad news, we're gonna get nuked, so we have to escape."
Damn.
And Otacon basically says, "Oh, I'll hang back. I'll open all the security doors so you two can escape." And Snake is like, "No, come with us. This is wrong. You shouldn't sacrifice yourself." And he's like, I'm tired of running. I want to like own up to what I did, and I'll be fine." And that's the last we hear of him, basically. So
wait, do you guys know if Otacon made it out?
yeah,
I think it's implied he does, or implied that he might be okay.
Right.
But we don't get a definitive answer here.
Kevin.
No.
Because I think I've seen the Otacon ending, like I've watched it. Does Shadow Moses blow up on your ending? Does it still get nuked or blown up or something?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a question, and then oh my god, not Miller.
Campbell.
Yeah. Campbell in the nick of time calls the president. It's all like, oh my god, this whole thing was planned by the Secretary of Defense. The president had no idea, and like it all gets called back, and like nothing gets bombed.
Okay.
Really that bad.
I was misremembering then, because like Omar said, in our post escape conversation, Snake is talking to Campbell, and he's like, "Hey, Hal Emmerich's on the base, send search and rescue," and it's implied that they will find him. But before we keep talking about the ending, do we want to talk about the tunnel escape a little more? Kevin, I know you were excited to mention it.
I was really impressed. Go ahead. Oh my god.
Can I mention one last thing about Meryl and like Campbell? And like, I always still felt it was weird that Campbell and like, why is there a direct family connection here with Meryl and Campbell? Like, how did she get here? And then what? John Homeman like put her here as leverage against Campbell or something. What happened?
Yeah.
What was that?
So
yeah,
Jack, did you like have a grasp on the order?
Yeah, it seems that Meryl, like what you're saying, Omar, was used as leverage for Campbell, for him basically to carry out this mission. Because like Campbell and Snake presumably have like a rapport together from like the previous games, and so there's like a certain level of trust between the two of them, and I feel like that's part of the reason why Snake comes back and goes on this mission. So I feel like Houseman is using that to get Snake back. He puts Meryl out like in this mission to get Campbell to make sure everything goes okay so that she makes it through. But yes, very convoluted. There's just so many threads that are just, interwoven between in this game where it's like, okay, sure.
So you guys get the reveal so I bet in your playthrough, Campbell tells Meryl that Campbell is like her dad, right? Straight up.
Wait, what?
Oh shit! Things just got spicy now.
Did they say that?
So in my playthrough, at the very end, Campbell is talking to Snake, and Campbell's like, "Yeah, like, Snake is telling Campbell, yeah, Meryl didn't make it or whatever," and then like Campbell's like, "Yeah, like I had so much to tell her, like, I'm her father," and Snake's like, "What?"
Wow.
And then Kale was like, "Yeah, I was gonna tell her after this mission that I'm her father. I found out from
Yeah, it totally
I
is.
don't know, but like it was like I like found out by like her mom or something like that before she died that I was the real father instead of the uncle, or whatever. So I just figured that since you guys brought up like different ending, I'm like, okay, like maybe Campbell gets to tell her that now that Meryl lives. Is that just not said?
No.
I guess not. I had no idea about that.
Yeah,
That's
Campbell is Campbell's Meryl's dad, not just uncle.
Now I'm wondering. So
not that he could be both, but like, yeah.
Did it seem like Meryl definitively died in your playthrough, Kevin? Like,
yes.
They told you like straight up like Meryl's dead? Or
like
okay.
After the fight thing, like, well, I mean, I guess the only indications that like Snake goes up to her body, whatever, and then he looks up and just screams Meryl, like Meryl.
Okay,
like,
awesome.
Something like that. Yeah, like kind of cheesy, but I'm like, oh, okay, because so she's probably dead, and we like leave her there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
no.
Yeah, because then like at that point, Otacon comes up cloaked, and then uncloaks and like says that, hey, you know, Snake, like, yeah, she's dead, right? But are you gonna stay here and just die? Like, is that really what you want to do? Like, is this what we're both gonna do? You know, like, is this what I want to do? I lost Wolf, you know, like we can choose to move on, you know. But yeah, that's how mine went.
Interesting.
So damn, so it's not mentioned that Campbell's Meryl's no? Damn.
No, but that becomes like
Quite interesting.
I mean, that is it almost seems like both endings are canon, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Like I wonder what it was like before like Metal Gear Solid 2 came out and you beat Metal Gear Solid 1 and like there wasn't an answer for which ending was canon, right? Like I don't know. I will say you mentioned Otacon showing up with the cloak, which we didn't get, did we? No, I don't think we did. So
and then sorry, don't go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, remember when you find Otacon and he's like, "Hey, Snake, you can codec me anytime, and I can bring rations to you." Did he ever do that for you guys?
I never called.
No.
Okay, I called him like a couple times this last session, and he never brought me anything. He just
I wish he
gave me information.
Yeah,
I wish you would.
Maybe.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe that was a hint for like to call him when you were without your gear in the cell. Maybe that's all that was. Because like it's like, hey, I could really use some health right now or something. I don't know. But yeah, do we like the tunnel scene? Because I had a good time with it, and like because I went first person, and that made it a lot easier to just do everything.
That's the trick.
I didn't go first person on it.
Yeah, but I did the claw. I held triangle down with the finger, and then I was just using square with the thumb, and then left and right in the D-pad.
I had no idea you could do that.
It made it way easier. I think I got through it in like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. I remember trying like back in the day when I first played this. I remember like really not enjoying it, and I don't. It might have been like the continuation of like the two annoying boss fights before that, the two liquid ones, and then continuing on. But yeah, this took me a couple attempts. It wasn't until like finding like all the rations beforehand, because like you're meant to get hit in this with the guard posts, and the guards at the beginning, and yeah, you really have to go first person to make it through without getting hit as many times. So it wasn't annoying this time for me as it was like when I first played the game. But yeah, still I don't necessarily like it.
I got through it with like the tiniest sliver of health left. I think like I was about to go.
Same. Yeah, like I was like one hit. Yeah, but like it definitely called back to the multiple like Uncharted scenes where you're like rushing through. Like I think one specifically, I forgot if it's the first or second game, but you're with Elena. I think it's the second game. And there's this like really elaborate like outdoor scene. No, it's you're chasing a train and in Uncharted 2. And it just like reminded me, like obviously a lot less scaled down, but like I liked how close it felt to it. Like not saying it's 1-to-1, but like it was they like pulled it off. I was like, damn, that I was really impressed by it, you know? And like I don't know how loading worked in those days, but like the fact that they can make that environment move really fast on PS1 in like a really believable way, I thought was super neat. I just shot at the barrels when I was going into the tunnel. You know,
Yeah.
those blew up and they just took out the enemies really quickly. So, I didn't have to do it over. I just did it in one try, but I was down to like a one hit type of health when things were all said and done. And I don't know if I just got to the end of the tunnel or I was supposed to shoot one of the pillars for it to come down and it blocks Liquid's way. I think that's what happened. I think, but I don't know if that's true. But that's what it seemed like happened. Yeah.
I don't think, at least I didn't. This could be a variable for the tunnel, but the way it ended for me was I was driving out with Meryl, and then like I was just shooting Liquid the entire time. And she said daylight, and then we crashed, and then Liquid also crashed. I don't know if Rubble fell. I might be forgetting that, but Jack and Omar, did you guys get Rubble?
I can't
Like
remember.
the tunnel collapsing or something?
I don't know. I just remember them crashing.
Yeah, I just remember the cars.
Yeah. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, or like something looked like that, but not what happens. But I thought like a pillar fell, which caused Liquid to swerve a little bit and stop shooting at me, and then we saw light, and then we escaped. Gotcha. But then it does happen too, where we crash, and then Liquid crashes next to us as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
before we talk about the ending, I wanted to shout out Meryl calls Otacon Oticon, and I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
So this is like the after we get out of the tunnel, that's the end of the game. It's just the cutscene that's left.
Yeah.
So Liquid survived the crash. Does not survive Fox Die though. We get our final
Fox
Die.
It's cheesy, but I love that Snake finishes it, and then that he just Liquid collapses. I love that so much.
I like it
too. They finish each other's sentences. It's great.
Yeah.
Die.
So I have a question, Jack and Omar. If you know if this gets answered in the future, just tell me that it gets answered in the future. I still don't fully understand why. Like I know what Naomi said, but I still don't fully get why Snake hasn't died from Fox Die. Like the will to live, is that it? Like,
yes, that's your answer.
Okay.
Wait,
as far as I'm concerned, that's your answer.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
That's Kojima doesn't know.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I assumed. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. So the only other points that I feel like stood out to me in the final cutscene, and feel free to add anything else on. Snake's real name is David, after David Hayter, I'm assuming.
Another fourth wall.
Yep.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dave.
Yeah.
And
hey, Kiefer.
Omar, I think you said this like in episode 1. This definitely, it feels like the end of the series. Like this feels like it was probably the last game Kojima planned on making for Metal Gear.
Yeah. There's always been stories that he never wants to make another game, another Metal Gear game.
Yeah.
So I said that, but also there is this after credit scene where I believe he always is training someone to take the series over after him.
Mm-hmm.
But it is possible he might have wanted to do 2, but I know he definitely didn't want to make 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. This definitely does have a finale feel to it, but they all kind of do. So
sure.
Really?
I don't know.
Yeah, because like just like stepping away from the Metal Gear aspect of it, like just having an ending where people literally ride off into the sun. Like it's the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's the ending. Sorry, no, it's Last Crusade. It's the same exact ending. Like, and then we did a 4th one. Like it just feels really weird. But I think you can, again, not talking too much about the future, you can see a world where things change based on what is said about the end of this game, where it really is about trying to defy your fate, go against what the world wants you to be. And that's like really the message of the entire thing with the twins and everything, and the descendancy of Big Boss. Like it's super cheesy. Like it goes on way too long of like him and Meryl going back and forth about being happy about life and just being happy to be alive. But to me that feels like the ending of a thing,
Yeah, mine was really different than what you guys were saying. Because I had Otacon, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mine it was like they were talking about like what they're gonna do after this, you know. Otacon said something that he wants to do. I forgot what it was. It was something like random. I forgot what it was. But
Good
you
one.
know, go to an otaku convention. Or something.
I think no, I don't think it was a convention, but it was something like that where like, oh no. Okay, I remember. Okay, so Snake was like, hey, like, are you gonna keep being a scientist? He's like, no, like, I don't want to be a scientist because like, you know, the reason why I did it in the first place was because I was afraid of people, and now I want to study human psychology, and then Snake was like, well, I mean, like, are you done hiding? And then he's like, yeah, I'm done hiding. And he takes off his cloak and he gives it to Snake. He like gives him the like cloak technology. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, sweet. So like, hopefully that's in the second game. Like, I think that'd be kind of dope, you know. But yeah, like I thought that was cool. And then I think Snake just says that like he just wants to be happy and just live, you know. That's essentially what it is. Yeah. So and then they kind of just go off, and then like I think Otacon says his real name is Hal. So like Otacon like Hal and Dave, and they like laugh for a little bit.
I know exactly that. I know exactly. Like it's like a weird synchronized laugh. I remember that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
so
weird. Good. And I was like, wait, I think it's the first time I ever heard fucking Snake laugh, and that was really funny. But yeah. So yeah, that's where mine ended. Yeah, I like my ending a lot more than y'all's, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just say it.
I think I'm with you, Kev.
I like the Meryl ending. It's just very, very cheesy. Like, yours is wholesome.
I see.
This one's like cheesy, stereotypical Hollywood sunset ending is what it is. I still enjoy it. But interesting you bring up the cloaking thing, because what I think that actually is your reward for beating the game. Like, I think you can do a new game plus and you get the cloaking ability, so you could run through the game with cloaking, because we got infinite ammo headbands.
Shit.
Yeah, we got the bandana.
Oh shit. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. That's neat. Okay.
Actually,
yeah,
I got nothing because
Wait, really?
I on that final clear screen, right, where it says, "Would you like to save data?" I hit the X button, right, because I forgot the whole Japanese
Me
switch
too.
thing.
I did that too.
Yeah, so I couldn't save the final data.
Damn.
Whoops.
Well,
I think I did, but it went back to 0 and everything. Is it supposed to do that?
I think that's basically your new game plus.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's what happened to me then too.
Okay.
Okay, so I just mean I got fucked then.
Did you guys take a photo or a screenshot or whatever of like any of your stats?
I wrote down.
I can pull it up.
I did.
Yeah, I have mine pulled up here. I had so I played on normal. It took me 13 hours and 49 minutes. I saved 57 times.
Holy shit.
I had 34 continues. I was found 31 times. I killed 132 enemies and I used 87 rations. And I have the codename Iguana. And special items were camera and bandana.
I'll read mine really quick.
Okay.
I was playing on easy. My playtime was 10 hours, 5 minutes and 52 seconds. I saved 15 times, which is lower than I thought.
What?
Yeah, that's like a lot lower than I thought it was going to be. I continued 84 times. I was found 62 times. I killed 118 people, and I used 86 rations. My code name is Komodo Dragon, and my special items were just stealth. Stealth was my special item.
Cool.
I guess.
I played on easy. Playtime 10 hours and 5 minutes.
Hey!
22 seconds. Yeah.
Fucking barely beat me down.
Sorry. Save 37 times. Continue 41 times. Being found 37. Enemies 107. Murdered. Rations 64. Codename Komodo Dragon.
Hell yeah.
And special items bandana.
All right. I don't mean to flex, but I played on easy.
This motherfucker.
My completion time was 8 hours and 16 minutes and 10 seconds. I saved 13 times. I continued 18 times. I was found 22 times. I killed 83 enemies. used 62 rations. My code name is Puma, and I got a headband for the ammo.
How many save states do you make? Be honest.
When I ended every week.
Okay. All right. Fuck.
So
Nice job.
if I didn't like end the week on a save state just so I didn't have to boot up again, it would probably be like 17 saves, maybe 18. But
nice.
yeah,
I saved almost 60 times. I saved so often. If you look on my emulators for Pokemon, I have like hundreds of saves. Hundreds.
Yeah.
I thought that I was saving a lot more than I did, to be honest. I definitely thought I was saving a lot more, but oh well, I guess I wasn't.
I would have saved more if I didn't have to go through the codec each time.
Yeah.
See, I love the mailing dialogue. You guys missed out.
Yeah, I got some good ones too, yeah.
I think I wasn't saving too much until that Sniper Wolf fight, and I had to redo it or something, or redo the whole torture sequence. That's when I started saving like every few minutes. I was like, all right, save.
May I suggest that as we move through the Metal Gear series for our lower thirds, we have to use our code name as well that we were rewarded for the previous game.
Of course,
that's an excellent
sounds
idea.
great.
Very nice. So I guess the only thing left to talk about is the credits and post credits.
Yeah.
So we get some nice. Before we even get credits, we get some facts about nukes.
Yeah.
Did anybody write it down?
Yeah.
No, I think there was like there's 26,000 nukes as of 1998 still in the world, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, are these real stats? Like,
I think so.
is this like a real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like
I was
Kojima
like-
being like, this is a humanitarian project.
You legit.
It's
I'm
like,
what the fuck?
okay.
Yeah, like the only thing I wrote down was that it like they signed the Start 2 thing in like 93, I think, and it was supposed to bring the world down to like 2.5k nukes by 2000, and by 98 there were still 26,000 nukes left in the world, and it was just such a strange thing to see at the end of the last half hour of this game. But it was like, again, going back to that weird thing of Kojima, like looking into the future, kind of. I was like unsettled with seeing these stats of like, I think it's just gone up. I don't think it's gone down. Like, it was a little haunting to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you think of like countries right now who are like on the brink of like developing nuclear weapons, and it's like, oh man, seems a little prescient, that Kojima.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna make a real odd link here, guys. So randomly, like a month ago, I was at my friend's apartment, and the movie about the Boston Marathon bomber with one what's his name? Fuck.
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg was playing. And, like, at the end of that movie, they have like similar like looking stat cards that like happen with like every like, you know, in real life movie, you know, that was based off a real thing. And they have those stats about, oh, like here's so and so, and like here's what he's doing now, whatever. It reminded me of that like I thought was just odd, but I don't know. I was like, fuck it. It's I guess it's Kojima, so I guess but
I think Kojima was in a situation with this game where he was like clearly trying to make a video game like no other, and and this was one of those instances. Like, we talked throughout this whole playthrough of this game being cinematic, and like this is definitely one of those touchstones where, you know, that's often featured in films like what you were talking about, Kevin. So definitely jarring in a video game, and like what Christian was saying, like nukes by the end of this game is just not even relevant to what's happening. So it's like, oh right, that was an element of this game. But it's it was just a little odd.
Yeah, like the end of the game aside, like unintended effect, right? Because I know that like there is the like message of like, yeah, nuclear warfare is bad throughout this game. It's not the focus by the end, but like I think an unintended effect of playing the game in 2021 was me just being like, wow, people had some high expectations for this world, and I don't think anything went the way anybody wanted it to go. So on that level, I was a little unsettled by those stat cards. So unintended effect, but yes, it in hindsight, I think it's absolutely what you said, Jack, of like Kojima wanting to stand out. And I think at the time, it's like, hey, yeah, I completely understand why people were like jaw dropped when they see that title card at the end, you know, like.
Yeah.
I think Kojima really liked Terminator. I think he just got really afraid of the nuclear world that movie depicts, and kind of took a lot of that too. And it works on me. I always get freaked out when I see shit like that. Yeah. But yeah, nuclear deterrence, man.
Never seen Terminator.
Oh, okay.
It's
Terminator 2 is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's good too.
Credits, we have more of the live action footage, shots of Alaska, dog sleds Kevin. You get your answer about mushing.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
Great music track, best is yet to come.
True.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
I think I don't know if we talked about this a little bit, but I do all that stuff, all that sappy like find your own. It's not about fate. It's whatever you want to do. Believe in bullshit. I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
I really do.
Yeah. It gives me like, it's funny how it's about clones, but it really reminds me of the clones in Star Wars. How like they undergo like similar sort of trajectories where like the whole idea of the clones in specifically the show The Clone Wars, where like their whole struggle is like, how are we any different than the droids? And in a sense they're not, but like you understand that each of these like people have their own personalities, and like some eventually do break away and like become their own people. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
like that one that one clone on that one planet. Jack, you don't talk about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the dude who becomes a farmer with like the
so fucking cool, man. I fucking love cool. Shout out,
dude. Do you think that dude, turned out good soldiers follow orders during Order 66? He didn't have the chip out.
Oh shit!
That dude must have slaughtered his whole family and just.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder what happened to him. Mm-hmm. I need that story.
We'll find out in the Bad Batch.
Yes. Go back.
I thought about
let's see what he's doing.
Star Wars a little bit too while I played. I don't know if this one makes sense or this one will make sense, but I if you don't mind me bringing up The Last Jedi and
Please do.
All right. And I'm also going to bring up was it Rise of Skywalker, that new one?
Yeah.
I think the struggle with Kojima has with building up these characters to be these crazy really fucked up backgrounds and then redeeming them later, and it kind of reminded me about the frustrations I had with like Rey being like a Palpatine or something. Mm-hmm. Where I feel like in that movie they were like building her up, like, or it made it seem like she became the best from the worst rather than like the best from like nothing. Mm-hmm. Which I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that's almost unnecessary or too much. Like you could just have had that background just been kind of I don't know, not come from the worst, but maybe just come from somewhere unworthy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I feel like that is kind of like that kind of meandering to being the best might be why like most of us are looking at Kevin's ending as being better, because like I think that character arc you're talking about, Omar, in this game is Otacon. Yeah. Like yes, you could say that like it is worst to best where he did basically help build Metal Gear, but like at the same time, it's more ignorance, and he's just really he can't fight for himself. So he's kind of, like it's not like he was actually doing the bad thing. He's kind of just a nobody that becomes...
I totally agree with you. But then Kojima does do that thing where he's like, but his grandfather and his father. We're like, I completely forgot about.
Yeah.
Like,
good points. Yeah. So do we want to talk about the post credits then? Because that's all.
I have most of it written down if you want me to.
Jack, recite the whole thing, please.
Go ahead, sir.
Here we go. Now, so like it's the basic. So Kevin, did you see this one?
Yes, I did hear it.
Okay.
Wait, see it?
Or hear it, rather. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was like, wait, like, did y'all get a visual? Okay, never.
Yeah. So yeah, it's essentially Ocelot on a phone with someone. We don't know who it is. He's talking to someone who he refers to as a boss. Mm-hmm. He was mentioning that like he had a cover that he was, withholding from members of Foxhound this whole time. He mentions that the inferior one was the winner after all, and he's talking about the third one, which he refers to as Solidus.
Balance.
And then he says, "Goodbye, Mr. President."
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So there it is.
So I do. There's a couple other things because like I think he says something directly of like they're wrong. There needs to be a balance, like you, Solidus, and then the end is Mr. President. So it's implied. Go ahead.
I was gonna say this is also the one where they say like I don't know if you mentioned this. I'm sorry, but the inferior one won.
Right.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
So
go ahead.
Wait.
It's implied then in this cutscene that Ocelot is talking to whoever Solidus is. Solidus being a third clone. Solidus also being addressed as Mr. President.
A president or something, surely.
Yes.
Why Solidus? They should have called him like Vapor or something.
See, I think this is the one case where Kojima was told no. I bet he realizes it himself. Maybe no, that would be too dumb. We can't. I don't know. See, I love it though. Like it should have been.
What about like Plasma?
Yeah, totally.
Plasma would have been dope.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just love seeing this cutscene play out, like especially that stinger, Mr. President, and then like that.
Dude, this cutscene is awesome. I think that Ocelot performance is so good. Mm-hmm. Like, I think about some of those lines every day. I think I don't know. It's just so great. Like, man. Okay. In the weeds here, but Christian, one of my most proudest moments was making a parody of that scene and showing it to our literature class.
I remember that.
Yeah, I really love that shit.
How well did that go over?
I loved it. It's like a class of 10 of us. I loved it.
Yeah, I think it went well. I liked it. Like, I think Christian was the only one there who got it, but man, yeah.
Jack, what do you like about this?
I think it was you, Christian. It might have been someone else this episode who was alluding to the fact that like Ocelot is like a little bit more in the know than he seems, and it was like somewhat odd that this older man who had like this storied career was like subservient to Liquid, who is this sort of like whiny, annoying, boss. He fulfilled the leadership role, but yeah, I do like how you get the sense that Ocelot is just like a triple agent, and like he serves like multiple masters, but it's really he's in it for himself, it seems. So yeah, I like Ocelot in this one.
Yeah, me too. Kevin, talk to us. This is your first time seeing this. Yeah. What's your read on it? What's your takeaway? Any revelations? Like just your entire thought process on this interaction with Ocelot and President Solidus.
So I mean, I didn't conceive that it could be the president of something else and not the president of the United States, right? Like, I thought that's what it was. Like, I thought, like, oh man, wait, like, just kidding. The president knew more than what he said he knew.
President
right?
of the States would be crazy, right?
Yeah, like that's what I thought. But okay, like, I guess it might not be. But then wait, so he called the person that won. I have to assume he's talking about Snake, right?
Yeah.
As the inferior, does that mean that he has the recessive traits?
Yes.
That's the implication. Yeah.
Yes. Because like the thing with genotype and phenotype, this is reaching back to 9th grade. I think phenotype is physical appearance, and Liquid is talking. Either Liquid or Ocelot says something about phenotype. So I think it's implied that, like, on an appearance level, Liquid got the recessive genes. So, like, he's blonde. He has long hair. He's, like, fair-featured. Snake is, like, chiseled, dark hair. The spitting image of Big Boss. But like in every other way, like Kevin, what you were saying of like this entire game, like Liquid seems to be the more competent one.
Yeah,
With,
definitely,
like,
100%, way more.
With almost everything. It's implied then yes, like Liquid got the leadership stuff of Boss, and Snake is very much the pawn, the soldier that Big Boss isn't. So,
did Liquid ever know that? Did he just not know that?
I don't think so.
Tragic.
No.
Never did.
Damn, bro. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
And I wonder if Big Boss knew it too. He must have. I think he was just being a shitty person, a shitty whatever he was, guardian to him.
Like, probably. Because...
no, go ahead.
Because I was going to say, Liquid says something of like, their dad still chose him. You know?
Right.
So like he's the one who was like with Big Boss. He was being trained by him. So like he still chose him. And Omar, I think you're right. Then he was just like, maybe because he was just a bad dad. Like he was like, oh, so I must be the disappointment. Like that must be it, right? Because he like idolizes Big Boss in a way. But Kevin, what we're gonna?
Here's where I'm at, right, guys. So throughout the whole game, right, we see Snake's character model, right? No beard, right? Looking what I would take as like a younger version of Snake, right? But then now we're blending into these whole things where it is confirmed now, as someone who's new to the series, that Snake is a spitting image of Big Boss, right? I'm literally writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
So my only context of the Metal Gear series is the salute meme.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a lot of the promotional art of MGS5. And this man has a beard, right? So it could conceivably now be that...
Are you sure you want to ask these questions? Listen,
I am not looking for an answer. I'm just talking. So it could conceive, like, from a new point of view, it could conceivably be hypothetically speaking. And no, I'm not going to look into this. I'm not. I'm just going to just play the games and we'll see how it goes. That either we're moving into the future after this point but no, because we have either Miro or Otacon. Who do we get? I don't know. Let's say I get Otacon, right? Are we going to go off and do some other stuff? Like, are we going to try and like maybe figure out what's the essence of this fox dye? Are we going to try and flush it out of my system? I don't know. Otacon's a scientist. Maybe he can help, right? And that's how he ages. And there's a scar involved too. Or are we going backwards? And are we playing as Big Boss? Question mark? Because if they're the spitting image,
like who's to say, right? You don't know. I like where your head's at, though. Thinking through it like this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you're supposed to be thinking right now.
Shit.
So,
which way are we going? I mean, don't tell me.
I'm excited. Right. I'm really excited about this whole thing.
Yeah,
I think this is fun.
This is an exciting prospect.
Absolutely.
I kind of want to. I mean, I kind of want to always have Big Boss be like this, like mystery, like facade that like the only like things that we get are through Snake of Big Boss, right? And like the emulation of Big Boss lives on and continues through Snake. I think I'd like that a little bit more. I hope Otacon's still involved, to be honest. Now that I've grown so close to the homie, you know, perhaps I can help him not be so down bad about Wolf, who never cared about him, you know. Damn, that's quite interesting.
I'll say this, Kevin. Gentlemen. What's great is that whatever you guess, you'll never come close to what is actually.
Oh shit! Okay, all right, okay.
Metal Gear Solid 2 is going to be so much fun.
I can't wait. Yeah.
I can taste it.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
So I think that wraps everything there is to say about the story, the implications of everything about Metal Gear Solid. Was there any topic we didn't touch on that we want to state before we do our final thoughts on Metal Gear Solid 1 and plug everything?
Did we talk about the elevator sequence? It was in my mind, the one with the 4 soldiers show up in the last sequence the last episode. Did we comment on it?
I think
for some reason I
briefly.
was taking a shower this morning and I was like, did we talk about that?
Oh, the one leading up to the Hind battle.
Yeah, with the snake. There's people in there.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
did we mention that? Okay, we might have. I might just forget. I just wanted to mention again. That scene is so cool, Glenn.
Yeah.
Another scene where Otacon, like, his face just like flips out in the codec, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That was my one last thing I had to mention.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we ever went in on this much either, but the music in the game is amazing. I love all the music in the game.
Really
Dude,
good.
yeah, that Konami
Really
sound
good.
team, perfect.
Really good music.
Yeah.
That blast furnace theme. That scene when you first see Metal Gear in this episode was like had some like vocals to it. It was
Yeah.
That's cool,
I
man.
noticed like some like Skyrim-y like chanting going on.
yeah.
In a way, it was very cool.
Yeah, it's very
I like when like especially like early on with like Meryl stuff when or like Wolf too, where they would transition to like a self-reflection about their life and like, you know, all that, how it would be like the single woman vocal where it's like she's doing like almost like a church choir type of ambiance and feel to it. Like that is like what sticks out the most. Like I want to like Blue Point cut a fucking remake trailer, have like, I don't know, damn, how would I even try to think of like what's one object that like I would want like zoomed in or whatever. Maybe like his bandana
cardboard
or
box.
like some
Okay.
shit.
Yeah.
Or like a cardboard box. Yeah. And then just play those and then be like 2024.
Cardboard box on some ray trace puddles.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
Precisely.
There's nothing better than a Metal Gear character like talking to you for a minute and then all of a sudden the music starts and then you're like, okay, so 5 minutes, just go. You know, like
Yeah.
that's really, really one of my favorite things about it. But
I'm gonna actually date this card that I wrote the Big Boss stuff on. I'm gonna keep it at my desk. Oh, also
that a
the other
flow
side's
chart?
yeah. So like we so wait. I think we started at the top, Big Boss, so we could go forward. There's the beard. We're going back, but yeah. I'm gonna date this and keep it nearby for us.
yeah, flowcharts are
Also-
good for the series. I think.
On the back of this card, I forgot to say my favorite quote or one of them. I think Snake tells Otacon this, I think, or like other way, where like he goes like, "Are you a hacker?" But like they say it in like the most like disgust way possible. Like I'm like, damn, like I don't know if being a hacker was like really that bad in '98, but I guess it was. I don't know.
I think Otacon
Like,
goes
oh my
like,
God.
"Yep."
yeah.
Yeah,
Guess
I
you
was
could say
oh my
that.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a hacker?
We actually didn't talk about the super baby method, did we?
What the fuck is that?
The
Yeah.
super baby method?
They brought that up and like I don't know what that was, bro.
I think that was just the way, you know, they took these fetuses or whatever, these clone things, and birthed them. I don't know. It's just funny, the term super baby method, I thought.
Oh, is that the process of them like killing off the other 6 and then somehow that empowers the other 2 and then
Like,
they do a
potentially.
flippy contract?
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
like the official term for basically like growing a baby in a lab and then like implanting it to like finish developing. I think that's what it is. But
Also, I mean, Kojima really likes to like, I guess, delve into like the beginnings of like a human, you know? I don't know, like, cause like with like Death Stranding and stuff like that, like how they use the BBs and like you know, I don't know, maybe that's like maybe that's a stretch too far, but like
No.
I don't know.
That's
He seems to put a lot of importance on a human body in like very early on, you know, for some like pivotal role, you know.
for sure.
Interesting stuff. Interesting.
Absolutely. Well, why don't we do final thoughts and plug for each member of the club? Jack, you want to kick us off? Final thoughts on Metal Gear Solid 1. If you want to score it, sure. If you want to give it a personal official ranking in the series as we go for it. I'm sure it will be hard this week, but all that and also whatever you want to plug.
Sure. So I sounded negative in this episode just because I think there's an issue with Metal Gear where like at the very end of the game, it just like will dump so much in terms of exposition and in terms of just like new gameplay elements that just don't feel satisfying. But overall, as a package, Metal Gear Solid is like incredible. I think of the PlayStation 1 games I've played, it's like easily the best, and I think this is one of those games where it's like, oh, like Greg Miller always talks about it, like this is one of those games where it's like, oh, this is what video games could be. And I think going back to that and in seeing the foundations, it's totally evident in that. So yeah, I really like it. I can't really rank it against anything right now, so it is number one. I wonder where that will change, because I have a ranking in my head of where I put the Metal Gear games when I originally played through, including 5 now. So yeah, I wonder where that will go. This was actually towards the bottom when I originally ranked it, which is not saying much, because I mean, I guess it is saying much, because Metal Gear is a great series. So, but yeah, you can follow me on social media at Fascinated Jack. Christian and I have a Marvel's Avengers podcast. Comes out every Saturday. We also talk about WandaVision. So yeah, it's a great time. Check that out on Joe Clicks.
Very nice. Kevin, what's up?
So of course, with the stream series starting last year on the channel, right? I've gotten a lot of chances to like see a series from front to back and how they evolve, right? And like usually the first in the series is the absolute like worst it's gonna be, usually, right? This one I feel like is not necessarily the case. It's the best first game I think I've seen in a franchise so far. I think ultimately, like when you really look at it all with its faults and its positives and stuff like that, like it is still a very impressive thing that I'm shocked like exists. And like I see now like why Kojima has always been a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like I think this game like proves like the fact that, even from the first episode, like being like, oh man, like the way they use like the camera work and stuff like that, like even that like flash screen where you see Metal Gear Solid in front of above Snake, and like so many examples of that and everything. Like it's clear that I also stand by the notion that like I think narratively, characters, overall story, overall like just world that they built in this is really good. It's just trapped in shitty gameplay. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't know. I still liked it. I wonder where it ends up in the total grand scheme of things. I think it's gonna end up probably being like one of the ones that I don't like the most out of the Metal Gear Solid franchise, just because like in my eyes, like I'm liking the dialogue, I'm liking the characters, I'm liking the story, right? So as long as they just keep it up with that, I guess, and you just meld in just better gameplay, and I think as the series gets more and more modern is when I'm gonna probably have that feedback and everything. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I liked it. Very, very cool. Very, very intriguing to see a game that came out the year I was born, and like where the pinnacle of games seemed to be when I was born. But yeah, due to the comments as PlayStation Source, we're still going through Ratchet and Clank as well. Probably after Ratchet, I think we're gonna just dedicate MGS for the time being. I don't think I'm gonna start any other stream series. Maybe I'm not sure, but yep, that Destruction All Stars content, all that good stuff. Save Slot Podcast, Gamescast here with JoyClicks as well. And yeah, Twitter at PS4's Vids as well. So you can check me out there as well.
All right. Very nice. Omar, what about you?
Yeah, man, Metal Gear Solid. This is one of my favorite games, to be honest. But I guess I was a bit surprised at how much of my least favorite Metal Gear stuff was in this one. So I don't know. In my head, I always had this ranked as my second favorite Metal Gear, but I don't know where it will go now. I mean, as of this playthrough, it is the best one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I will say I think Metal Gear Solid walked so Metal Gear Solid 2 could run. I really think it's maybe pairing those two together might be my favorite duology, maybe ever, in terms of what this game does and how the sequel plays off it, and makes a sequel. I'm really excited to see how that goes for us. Yeah. Otherwise, I have a Twitch channel, Ohms the Chef. I watch car chases now. Check it out. And yeah, Twitter, Ohms the Chef as well.
Very nice. Like I said, this is the only Metal Gear I've replayed out of all of them before we even decided to do this show. And I think of it very highly, and I think a lot of that is due to the scenario, because I think, I can say pretty confidently, I think like every game I've played, haven't played 4, but every game I've played in the series mechanically just keeps getting better and better. I don't know if the scenario of any of them ever like exceeds just the coolness of the scenario of Metal Gear Solid 1 more for me. And on that level, I can overlook some of the frustrations I had. And again, I played through on easy, so like it wasn't really anything challenging for me. But I really love the characters. I really love their interactions. I like the scope and scale and ambition of this game. And I think it holds up in a way that most other PS1 games don't, because there's so much aside from just the gameplay. Where like Crash Bandicoot, it's just the gameplay. It doesn't really work fully modern day. Resident Evil 1, yeah, it's cheesy, but everything else in that game is like going back to. So on those levels, I do think it's still one of the most impressive PS1 games. And I'm interested to see how long it stays towards the top of my ranking with like just where I think everything's going to land. But had a really great time playing through it like this. And all my stuff, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, Chunty2D2. And this show is available on youtube.com/joyclicks, as well as audio services like Apple Podcasts and Spotify and a variety of others. If you can rate or review on that platform, it would be appreciated, because it helps us find more people to follow along and play through in the Longplay Club discussions that we'll post every Monday for the foreseeable future. We're going to continue Metal Gear Solid. All future Longplay Club focused things will be in the same podcast feed, so if you want to be involved for the rest of Metal Gear, just follow along in the subscription feed, and you'll get every episode. Worth saying schedule-wise, the next episode of Longplay Club won't be going over any specific like text, I guess. It's just going to be sort of a little more debriefing thoughts on Metal Gear Solid 1, talking about the remake that may or may not be coming this year. If we want to, also, I'm probably going to do what Jack suggested and watch like the cutscene version of Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2, just to have that hindsight moving forward. So we can touch on that too next week. But basically, next episode is going to be cleanup for Metal Gear Solid 1. The week after, we will start Metal Gear Solid 2. And all of that will be detailed on the channel, on Twitter, @JoyClicks. The schedule moving forward for Longplay Club will be doled out the way it has been for these past few episodes. So I think that's everything. So, guys, it was a great experience to play through the game with you like this. I really enjoyed it, so thanks for agreeing to this. I hope you guys enjoyed it too.
Loved it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I'm even more excited to like continue it. Which is great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thanks for starting this.
Of course, yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm. Well,
thanks for having us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess until next week, the best is yet to come. Right? Am I right?
Oh yeah.
You are indeed right.